Is up, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the WAN show. We've got a fantastic show for you guys today. The big topics are, of course, that r/PCMasterRace has had it up to here with me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm dead to them.
Oh, yeah.
Officially dead to them.
Deceased.
Because of a hot take that, frankly, I didn't think was that hot. I thought, if anything, it was kind of a lukewarm take.
Left the tea out a little too long.
Actually, not that warm. He's smoking hot, but you know.
Yeah, you're cold. What's up with that?
I'm so cold. Well, I told you I got my booster the other day, and I'm just like, I'm kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah.
In other news, the Nvidia and ARM wedding could be called off.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, who saw this one coming? I'm pretty sure we called this. Did we call this?
I think so.
I don't know if we called that it actually wouldn't happen, but we definitely called that Nvidia are...
There might be a problem there.
Yeah, are generally not beloved by the rest of the tech industry, and that there might be some pushback. What else we got today?
Speaking of tech industry legal stuff, Intel is feeling fine after dodging a 1.06 billion euro fine.
I'd be feeling pretty fine too.
Oh, man. From like 2009, by the way. Also, I really don't understand this at all, but somehow NFTs are coming to YouTube. I literally don't know what that means.
That's another apparently super hot take that I had last week when I was just like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, NFTs, who cares? And people were like, NFTs. I'm sitting here going, whoa.
Probably on both sides, right?
Hey, okay.
I'm sorry about your monkey, JP.
You know what? Here, let me roll the intro. Why don't we actually talk a little bit? Yeah, no, we'll save it for later. I'll talk about that later. We got to roll the intro. We got to roll that intro.
Let's go.
Boom. The beep apparently didn't work. Oops.
Ah.
Well.
See you later, monetization.
Yeah, who needs it anyway?
Can we NFT the beep?
NFT the beep? What would that even mean?
Who knows? Who cares?
NFT the beep. Okay.
I mean, if you can...
And the show is brought to you by Corsair, Nordpass, and Vultr. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to jump right into our first topic of the day, the one and only Linus Media Group. That's right, that's his real last name. Posted an inadvertent, super red hot take on Twitter last night. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's start with the tweet that began it all, which was a look at the 2021 revenue makeup for Linus Media Group. We're not planning to do a full update this year. We're not going to do a video about it. We did one just last year. But I did want to keep you guys abreast to what's going on. So basically, I said, hey, you know, I want to make sure we're staying transparent with y'all. So YouTube AdSense is 18%. Other affiliates and ads is 5%. Facebook ads is 2%. Sponsored projects and in-video sponsor spots combined for 35%. Merch is 32%. Floatplane is 4%.
Yeah!
And Amazon Associates is 3%, with other revenue being 1%. And in response to this tweet, one astute viewer said, hold on a second, let me see if I can find the thread here, because it's super, it's really difficult to find stuff on Twitter. One Kirk Lau said, wow, I didn't imagine that AdSense would be a fifth of your income. I feel like a jerk for being lazy, not customizing my ad blocker. I responded, I said, online websites and creators are supported by ads. I thought that was pretty common knowledge, ? Ad blocking is the exact same thing as piracy. Literally the exact same thing. People will still do it, and I've been guilty of it at times, but we just need to be aware of the impact. That was what I said. Now tell me, Luke, please tell me, how spicy is that take? Give it to me out of ghost peppers. How many ghost peppers?
I mean, if I read it, I would not have cared at all.
Okay, but no, people are super mad. Like Twitch chat, which is awful people.
Yeah.
Love you, Floatplane chat. Love you, YouTube chat. Twitch chat.
Just the worst.
Sorry, you're the worst.
Do they agree with you because it's Twitch chat?
Twitch chat? No.
It's opposite day? No.
Okay. No. So help me out here.
I would not have been able to expect this reaction at all. I'm genuinely very surprised by it because most people that I know just wouldn't care, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
But I made it worse. Okay? I did post some follow-up tweets on the subject.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Here I was replying to Thompson Rem. Yep, our company would be less than 1/5 the size if we were oh no, that was a different comment I was replying to. Something, don't want to plaster the forum with ads. Something. Former sponsor was trying to pressure us. We didn't notice. That was a really funny one. Okay. So here's where things get kind of spicy. Conflating blocking ads with piracy is silly. Why not encourage everyone to block ads, but buy some merch? At least your merch segues are amusing and the desk pads are awesome. To which I replied, why not encourage everyone to torrent Stranger Things rather than subscribing to Netflix and then buy a Stranger Things themed Lego set and t-shirt? I said, you see now, it's literally the exact same thing. The payment for the content in this case is ads. You're not watching them. You are not paying for it because that's what the payment is. I followed that tweet up and Twitter is terrible, so it's really hard to find this. So we're going to go back to all of my things. So there's another reply here. Basically, I was told, going to have to agree to disagree. Love watching your content on YouTube. I'll still continue to block ads and buy merch instead. Said, go sneak into Cirque du Soleil without a ticket. When they try to kick you out, try the, but I bought a soda and a hoodie defense. You're just objectively wrong. The price is set by the seller, not the buyer. You can steal/pirate it, but then just admit it to yourself. And then I followed up. To be clear, I have publicly said that a single merch purchase is worth more than a year of AdSense for a viewer. Yeah. From a business standpoint, I don't even care. Just don't make the argument it's not piracy. Ethical piracy is still piracy. That was all I said on the subject. I said that not paying for a thing is piracy. So, shall I begin bringing up the atrocious takes that I would like to publicly annihilate?
I want to do a very short discussion before we do that, but there's a lot of those, so we do got to get to that eventually.
Sure.
But when you're saying piracy, would you back this up in a legal sense?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think that's something that people are having problems with.
Sure, but when I say piracy, I mean yar.
Yeah. I get it.
I mean,
which is, I think, one of the reasons why
fiddle-dee-dee, like
I was literally singing that before you got here.
Oh, really? Nice.
I think other people aren't interpreting it necessarily the same way, and I think that might be part of the problem. But let us continue.
Sure.
Because I think that's the reason why when I read it, I'm like, yeah, okay, and I just don't care. But then I think people are like, oh, you're saying I'm like breaking the law, blah. And it's like, okay, no, you can control what your browser does. We've talked on WAN Show about how you need to be able to do that. That's like a thing that should be very important, and you can do that, and that's fine. But yeah, you're not paying for it. You're not. There isn't an exchange that is intended to happening, and you are the one avoiding that. So yeah, I don't know. Go for it. Slam.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Do your screen? Yeah.
Ad blocking is not the exact same thing as piracy. To conflate the two is laughable at best and dangerous at worst.
Oh.
If ad blocking were illegal, you would have companies launching lawsuits against ad blockers and their users.
So this, yeah, we're going to.
That is some psychopathic, dystopic garbage.
Dang. Yeah, we're going with the legal one straight away.
Yeah. So. Again, maybe that's where the miscommunication took place, ladies and gentlemen, because I never said that it was illegal. I said it's piracy. Not everything that's piracy is necessarily, strictly speaking, illegal. Also, here's another really good take. No, Not in 2015, not in 2022, and it's a link from Torrent Freak. Ad blocking does not constitute copyright infringement. Never said it was copyright infringement. I said it's piracy, which is just taking what you please and not paying for it.
Sorry, I gotta address this merch message,
Sure.
which I'm gonna share on screen as well. But Michael C got a tech scarf, a crew neck sweater, 2 spout lids, and a flannel, and said in his merch message, "I'm buying this so I can block ads."
Sorcier says, but you literally compared it to pirating Netflix. Yes, I did. On Netflix, you have a video, right, to watch. Do we all follow along here? You're with me so far?
Yep.
There's a video.
I got you.
Okay, what's the deal? How do you get the video?
You pay.
You pay for a subscription to Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what if you, for whatever reason, do not wish to pay, but you still wish to consume the video? What is that?
Piracy.
Okay. Here.
Well,
hold on. Stick with me.
You would have to actually do the thing.
Okay, stick with me here. On YouTube, what do we have?
A video.
Okay, we got a video.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the deal to watch the video?
You gotta watch an ad.
Okay, but if you want to watch the video and you don't want the ad, this is something else.
Well, again, there has to be an action, but piracy.
No. They're totally different, Luke.
Self-liberation.
Because, Francesco,
Free sailors.
I'm going to have to disagree. The content itself is freely available. The way internet works, I could just print the raw stream on paper.
Nice.
Ads are more like, if you were so kind, please watch this. You could print the stream on paper, raw.
I like it.
Do you understand what they mean by this? Because I actually have no idea.
There's actually a few different interpretations, I
And
guess.
Francesco actually goes on to completely understand the issue, which is really confusing to me. Taking your example of the Cirque du Soleil ticket, that is a transaction. To watch the show, you have to have a ticket. Well, not if you sneak in. That was my point. Freely available content, as the name suggests, is free. Ads are fundamental to sustain it, but they are not a given.
It's not a tip. You're not like tipping your server by watching an ad. That's not how that works.
It's actually the deal. Like, that's the deal. So maybe part of the problem is that most people don't have the context of what it takes to run a video hosting platform. Of the people in this room, half of them do. So why don't you talk about that a little bit? Is hosting I don't know how much it costs.
Oh.
I actually don't.
It's expensive.
Is hosting... I wanted to ask the question,
Get
Luke.
owned.
I wanted to ask.
I just pirated the sorry. No, it's really expensive. It's genuinely really expensive. That's one of the reasons why we figured out that Twitch runs at a loss, and we've known for eversies that YouTube runs at a loss. There's other gains from those platforms. They want all your good, juicy data. And watch time and all that fun stuff. But it's really expensive.
I love this. This is great. Joshua Lapura posts, "It heard itself in its confusion," saying online websites and creators are supported by ads. I thought that was pretty common knowledge. Ad blocking is the exact same thing as piracy, literally the exact same thing. People will still do it, and I've been guilty of it at times, but we need to be aware of the impact. Next to the video where I talked about YouTube Vanced. This one I actually linked because it's followed by a great take from Tadeusz Judgko. No idea how to pronounce that. Where's the contradiction? He said it here. He said it in the video. People will still do it, and I've been guilty of it at times, but we just need to be aware of the impact.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, go throw yourself off a bridge, you disgraceful shell of a human being. I didn't say that.
And we've even suggested, I don't know if it's been in a mainline video, but it's definitely been in WAN, because I know I've done it. But we've suggested running ad blocker just in general on the internet, because there's a lot of bad things that ads can do.
Yep.
So it's kind of a safety net.
Nothing I said contradicted anything else I've ever said. I said that
I have ad blocker installed.
I said ad blocking happens. I personally do not use it.
Yeah.
I don't use it because that's not because of my position. I just think it would be pretty hypocritical for me to use it. But that doesn't mean that I haven't posted tutorials on how to install Pi-hole, for example. But none of that contradicts. I said, this is piracy. because it costs X. You've decided to pay X minus infinity and consume the content anyway. So just understand that.
Yeah.
Just get it.
Yeah, I run an ad blocker, but I also have YouTube Premium.
Well, then you're not a pirate because there would be no ad. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
Are
no,
you-
I'm not
you-
saying I
you?
am.
Oh.
I'm not saying I am.
Oh, okay. That was one of the takes I actually linked.
Oh.
They're like, how dare you? I have YouTube Premium. And I'm like, well, then what are you talking
yeah,
about? What
no.
ads would you be
I was
blocking?
saying for my setup, like I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch all the ads. So I have YouTube Premium so that my watch time kicks back to creators. Sweet. That's like a way better exchange for the creator. So that's cool. That works. And then when I'm browsing the internet, I don't want ads to do bad things to my computer. So I run ad block.
So,
Makes sense to me.
Obvious Lobster on Floatplane says, exactly. It's not piracy to ignore an ad that is served to me. You're right.
Yeah, you just ignore it.
You just ignore it.
Nice. Good job.
But here's the thing.
That way the platform still gets paid and the creator still gets paid.
Sure do. So you have actually participated in the transaction at that point. But we're not talking about ignoring it. We're talking about it never actually getting served. It's a completely different thing. So let's go ahead. Let's go a little bit further. This is the dumbest thing I've read today. Blocking ads is not the same as piracy. Nobody wants to watch invasive ads like the ones that pop up in the middle of a video on YouTube, so people just install ad blocks to be able to avoid those invasive ads. Blocking ads is not piracy. I don't want to pay, so I won't pay. I didn't say that you like ads. I never said that. So the real key here is to not get caught up in, I don't know. It's honestly hard to analyze something like this without going a little bit sort of pop psychology on it. It just feels like there's a lot of projection. Like if you feel guilty about it because you don't like the word piracy or you don't like the idea that you are not paying for something, for some good or some service that you are taking, well, then you have your own soul searching to do, right? Because I never talked about that. All I said was, if you are not upholding your end of the bargain, which is that you watch the ad, or at the very least, watch the first 5 seconds of the ad before you click skip, which does, by the way, count for the creator. If you're not upholding your end of the bargain, then it's piracy. And if that bothers you, then you've kind of got your own reflection to do, right? If it doesn't bother you, which lots of people it didn't, but then fine, but why are you arguing with me about it? It doesn't change what it is. It's still just not
I think a lot of people
paying for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't want to think of the activity that they're doing in that way, but they're avoiding compensating someone for their work. So, I don't know.
So again, I find it ironic you say this. Not only does it not compare, but like it does compare. It compares very, very not favorably, it compares very well. 3 years ago, you posted a video about how to block all ads with Pi-hole on a Raspberry Pi. It feels like the longer and bigger a channel gets, the greedier it gets. What did anything, I actually...
We have literally had this take on Adblock, by the way. I'm pretty sure the first time we talked about it on WAN Show was in the garage.
Oh, probably.
And we said this same stuff. We were a very small channel at that time.
And honestly speaking, guys, like I posted our income. Like I actually posted our income breakdown. It's not Linus Tech Tips that is going to suffer from this kind of thing. You're right. You're right. It is a way better business move to create other revenue streams. And we've got over 60 people here now, so we can create those revenue streams.
There's been a lot of merch messages that have come in with like different pirate flags and stuff like that. Like people are down. And we have said publicly before, we're cool with that. So like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, so here's one. Online websites and creators are also supported by interactions and views. No, they aren't. I need to clear this up for you, Corey. They're not. Luke, how much do I get paid for a view on YouTube?
$0.
What about in cents?
0 cents.
Lira?
Nope.
Rubles?
Get owned.
0. Are you sure?
Yeah.
0 of any of them?
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. That's correct.
Could someone make an argument
Sure. Go
that
for
you
it.
get paid for the sponsor spots that you bake into the video?
I do. I
Based
do
on
get
those
paid for
views.
those. However, the way that those typically work, it used to be a lot more Wild West 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But nowadays, basically the way that your rates get negotiated are based on some kind of conversion. How many conversions, like how many dollars they're paying per conversion. So ultimately, it becomes sort of a numbers game where the more conversions you get, the higher the sponsorship rates you might get from exactly the same sponsor. So at the end of the day, if you are also not engaging with any of the sponsors, then your contribution to those sponsorship rates is effectively zero. No sponsor is going to pay you based on just views, at least not one that you work with on an ongoing basis. And the way that we typically engage with our sponsors is as a longer-term relationship versus just trying to jack up our rates as high as possible and one and done it.
So someone in Flowplane chat, Dark Force said, with alternating case, you get paid in exposure.
In exposure, yeah, exactly. This is college. This is college football.
Oh man.
Obvious Lobster says redefining piracy in this way is super anti-consumer. Blocking ads is not piracy. I still don't really understand what there is to argue against here. It is. It's you basically saying, I don't like the price of this thing. I'm going to take it anyway, and I'm not going to pay for it. There's a specific reason that I said piracy rather than stealing, because it's the whole classic, you wouldn't download a car. It's not stealing. You haven't actually relocated the video off of YouTube's server and onto yours. But what it is piracy. You've decided you don't like the price, so you're just not going to pay it. And fine. I never actually said, go rot in hell. I don't feel that way about it.
He's just defining it.
I've talked about Vanced. I've talked about Piehole. I've talked in those videos, during those topics, about how ultimately those things hurt my business. I've been extremely consistent on this topic. Extremely consistent. So what exactly do you guys expect from me? Legit Sue says that's not the legal definition of piracy. I mean, it's a pirate code. It's more like guidelines, okay? All right, I got one more real classic one here, and then we'll leave this alone. We're gonna move on from this. Okay, actually, this one is just, oh man. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother. This one goes so far around in circles. That's not the one that I thought I was clicking on. It's something. Oh, this is hilarious. People have started deleting their tweets. I'm clicking on ones I linked before the show, and people are like, deleting them.
Rough.
Oh, man. Okay, so tell you what. We'll call it here. No, I don't mean in summary, I don't mean in a legal sense it's piracy.
It doesn't mean you should be able to get sued for it.
Nope. It just means that you've decided unilaterally that you don't like the price, so you just take it and don't pay for it. If that's not, call it whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. I guess it doesn't ultimately matter what word we decide on. Should we come up with a new word for it? We could try to come up with a new word for it.
Piracy light.
Piracy light? Piracy light. Okay.
I don't think that one's going to fly either. I like it, though.
Okay. Come on, guys. Give me something better. Freebooting?
Oh my goodness. Yar har.
Cheapskating.
I can't sing this out. I'm sorry. I'm too bad. But
cheapskating.
Somebody merch messaged Yar har, fiddle dee, banana for scale, and a processor tee. WAN sweatpants and a new flannel for me. I am a pirate.
Freeloading. Freeloading's not bad. I actually kind of like freeloading. Oh, I wish I'd. Did I ever talk about the one where I talked about ethical piracy? I guess I didn't. Oh, I'm so disappointed.
I know you mentioned ethical piracy, but I don't know if you I don't know if you talked about like that tweet or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Leeching? I like leeching.
Leeching's not bad. All right. So anyway, guys, love you all, and like I said in my original tweets, okay? Blah blah blah. Hold on. Where is it? It's piracy. Be aware of the impact. Sorry, it's freeloading. Leeching. Sure, it's
piracy
leeching.
light.
Piracy light. It's whatever. Let's substitute the word. You guys don't like the word. Okay, fine. It is definitely not paying in the way that the service decides it's supposed to be paid. You have decided not to pay, and it's actually really amusing. I didn't get to any of them, but how many people compared it to like Netflix and Steam, and how those ultimately decreased piracy significantly because they offered this, and Spotify, this all-you-can-eat version of paying for content, as though they don't know that YouTube Premium exists, as though there's no alternative other than using an ad blocker on YouTube. So you've decided you neither want to pay for it, nor do you want to view an ad, and you're going to take it anyway. Call it whatever you want. All I said was that understand, you need to, here, I'm going to use my exact words. You need to be aware of the impact. Okay? The payment for the content is ads or premium. If you don't do that, you didn't pay for it. You didn't. That's it. You didn't pay for it. Okay.
Yeah, nice.
And if you're chill with that, then you're chill with that. I'm chill too. Let's all be chill together. All right? We're going to chill. I actually kind of have chills today.
It's cold in here.
Yeah. You know what?
There's a solution to that.
We might have a solution to that.
It's an extremely Canadian solution to that.
There's like just about the most Canadian solution ever to that. I love it. Da, 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 da. Luke, are you getting yours?
Yes.
Yep.
We just launched the Linus Tech Tips, a flannel shirt. We got the world's most beautiful front page model for it, by the way. Check this out. The one, the only, Anthony Young. This is a completely custom garment, ladies and gentlemen. This is not some rebranded nonsense. This was designed by the Creator Warehouse team from the ground freaking up. The one and only Sarah Butt also modeling it. The one and only Taycan also modeling it. This is one of those products that Ed actually asked me. He's like, "Are you gonna wear the flannel shirt on the WAN show? Are you gonna wear it?" I don't think I've ever seen you wear flannel in your life.
Have you ever owned a flannel?
I have never owned a flannel. I'm not a proper Canadian. Really.
I've never owned a flannel, but my best friend growing up, his dad had like flannel jackets, like thicker flannels. And
Colin brought an axe.
That's awesome. I used to wear his kind of all the time.
Yeah.
But I never owned one myself.
Please tell me Alex modeled it. He was so involved in the development process for this one. How did Alex not model it? Oh, I'm disappointed. Honestly, everyone's done a great job, though. Good job, everyone. I actually love how down the team is to model the gear. Like, no one gets like an extra bonus for. Oh, I think you get to keep it after.
Oh.
So okay, never mind.
That's pretty good.
It's a little bit easier to explain.
That's pretty good.
So it's got the gray fold back thing. It's got nice pockets on it because we're all about those pockets. Oh, we finally did it. People have been asking for this for ages. Okay, this is not a perfect way to do this because if people don't happen to know who Anthony, Sarah, Tynan, and Colin are, then it won't help them much. But Sarah modeled our small, Tynan modeled the medium, Colin did the large, and Anthony did the triple XL. So there you go, guys. We've finally done it. We've added the names of the models on the product page. All right. So, guys, go check it out. $59.99. It's on the site, and we're probably going to have a handful of merch messages. Let's talk about the Nvidia and ARM wedding. Looks like it could be called off. Bloomberg has reported that Nvidia was letting business partners and associates know that they don't expect the deal with ARM to close. In December, the FTC filed a lawsuit to block the deal, alleging that the proposed deal would distort ARM's incentives to in-chip markets. Since the appointment of Lina Khan as chair, the regulator is starting to scrutinize more deals. The UK's Competition Market Authority and the EU are also scrutinizing the merger. I mean, this is one of those things where pretty much everyone and their dog was calling on this
Going
deal.
like,
Yeah, please no.
yeah, yeah.
And Nvidia even came out and said, look, we're not gonna, it's not gonna be bad. It's gonna be good. Don't worry. It's gonna be excellent. But Nvidia has a long and proud history of being extraordinarily difficult to work with. When's the last time you saw an Nvidia chip in an Apple laptop, for example?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say that Nvidia owned all the blame for that, but I will say that I think Apple's upset is at least somewhat justified.
Yeah, has Apple necessarily been the most easy to work with either?
No.
Yeah.
Those two companies were
That
probably
was a clash that was not going to survive.
destined to never work with each other. SoftBank, which currently owns ARM, plans to instead list the company on the stock market in an IPO. 70% of the $40 billion deal was going to be paid in Nvidia shares. Those have gone up 90% since the original announcement in September of 2020, meaning at this point, the deal would actually cost Nvidia about $25 billion more. If it doesn't go through, though, Nvidia will lose their $1.25 billion down payment.
Wow.
Discussion topic here. What are the odds the FTC wins the trial in August to block the deal? Honestly,
I feel pretty high.
I feel like it would be pretty easy to demonstrate that Nvidia owning ARM would put them in a position to unfairly influence their direct competitors pretty much across the entire industry. What are some dystopian fanfics about the future of the chip market if this deal were to go through? Honestly, okay, here's a legitimately hot take, one that is in my opinion, not as open and shut as the previous one we talked about. I actually don't think it would be that big of a deal.
I think it would be a big deal. I don't think it would be a necessarily dystopian fanfic.
In the short term to midterm, I think it would. Or in the short term, I think it wouldn't matter because most of the licensees of ARM's technology have pretty bulletproof deals. Like I think Apple has a literal perpetual license. So that would only really start to affect Apple, who has kind of, in a way, kind of forked the technology in a big way. So that would only really affect them in maybe the medium to very long term as NVIDIA changes ARM's development and ARM's R&D to benefit themselves and not really giving two hoots about anyone else.
Yeah.
Anyone with just a complete license, like IP license, like Apple,
So
I guess it just probably wouldn't matter.
For long term, is your argument based on risk?
5.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the short term, I don't think it would matter because pretty much everyone who's using ARM is going to have a pretty long license term for whatever it is that they need. In the medium term, NVIDIA could steer ARM's development in a way that benefits their own supercomputing ambitions and nobody else's.
Yeah.
And in the long term, I really think that ARM has kind of peaked in a way. And honestly, that was why I thought SoftBank was trying to
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
I mean, opening it up to an IPO is similar.
Yeah, the IPO one, I just have a hard time. I just have a hard time figuring out how ARM is going to continue to grow and deliver shareholder value. I don't think I would buy that IPO
in modern era.
Okay, that's
everything's just sort of based
fair
on feelings. As far as I can tell, all those markets are just like whimsical things. What was what is this guy? What's the Big Short guy's name?
Michael Burry or whatever.
Yeah, didn't he have some quote about like how markets over the last like 3 or 4 years aren't based on anything, and he's like concerned about it moving forward? It's interesting. Things are crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I think Nvidia is going to lose, but we'll see what actually happens. They do have a lot of money to throw behind it.
I think it would have been overall bad for the industry for Nvidia to own ARM. ARM is such a critical They're such a critical player, especially for low-cost devices, and Nvidia is not. I guess is one way of putting that.
There's a comment on Flowplane that says, look into Ampere computing, ARM servers wiping AMD's EPYC and Intel Xeons. Yeah, in the supercomputing space, ARM has been really strong. We're not saying ARM isn't super strong. We were saying that compared to the intensity of the statement of dystopian fanfic of the future of chip market, I don't think it just ends the entire game. But it wouldn't be a good thing, as we said.
I cannot keep up with the merch messages. They're actually coming too fast today.
Jaden says, also in general, market consolidation equals bad. Yeah, which is a big part of the reason why on the last show, we were saying that the core bad component of Microsoft buying Blizzard was that it was a huge amount of market consolidation into a group that already had a large amount of studios under it.
And once the market has been consolidated,
it doesn't spread back out.
It won't. It can't.
Yeah.
How is anyone else supposed to compete with Game Pass budgets being thrown at game development by Microsoft?
Especially when the marketing and the style of modern games is very, very much about like dopamine overload and flashy things and microtransactions and blah, 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 instead of like good story, good gameplay. That makes it a lot harder for small groups to get into it.
Yep, absolutely. And never mind small groups. I'm having a hard time figuring out how Sony's going to compete.
Yeah.
You know, that small group Sony. Like Nintendo, I feel like
they'll just sort of always have their little space in the corner, like you described.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a real big corner. I mean, isn't Switch coming up on biggest selling console ever? Like, I think it's number 2 right now behind the DS or something like that.
Huge.
I don't remember the numbers. I'm sorry, but it passed whatever was number 3 a little while ago, if I recall correctly. Just absolutely crazy.
I'm going to look it up really quick.
I mean, I'm responsible for 2 of them at this point. You know what? I shouldn't have. I gave away my original Switch at the Christmas party, and I realized I'm an idiot. It was an OG one. It was moddable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a yikes.
That's okay. I've got the OLED now, and realistically, I pay for all my Switch games anyway. So it's one of those things where, like, oh man, I hate to come back to like the piracy conversation again. It's one of those things where, you know, from my point of view, I'm at a stage in my life where it's kind of not worth the hassle, if that makes sense. Like, even if I had some kind of strong moral objection, like, here, you know what? Wow. Okay, this is a hot take. I'm going to give you guys an example of something that I would consider to be ethical piracy, all right? There's a rumor that Nintendo's working on a new Mario Party that will come out for the Switch. Okay? When that came out, if I discovered that Nintendo had fixed the cutscene skip issue in the new one, when they've continued to refuse to patch it in the old one, I would just pirate the new one outright.
Okay.
Because to me, it makes the game...
But he's saying pirate.
...utterly unplayable.
Yeah.
Utterly unplayable. Mario Party, whatever the one on Switch is, to play the actual board game, have you tried it? They make you sit through the instructions every single time.
I think I tried it once, and I remember it being super tedious, and I think that was the reason why I didn't try it again. Super
tedious.
Yeah.
And every time you play, you have to hear all the instructions, all the general game instructions, and it even asks you. It asks you at the beginning, have you played before? And you say, yes. And it tells you how to play.
Usually the games are incredibly simple, too. Like, you don't even necessarily need instructions ever.
And I'm not even talking about the mini games. I'm talking about it tells you all the rules of the board game.
Oh, no. Okay.
So what should be a 25-minute game full of mini games takes an hour. It literally doubles how long it takes to play the game. It's really frustrating. And so basically what I'm saying is, if Nintendo, knowing about this issue, which is simple to patch, skippable cutscenes are basic. And if they patched it in the new version, I would consider that to be ethical piracy. Sorry. I paid you guys for a game. I paid the full price. It's basically unplayable. I haven't touched it since the first 2 weeks. because that issue just makes it makes it a complete waste of time for me.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is make the cutscene skippable. If I could press a button and skip it, no problem. And so it's just that kind of just completely, man, it's not even apathy. It's like actual malice towards your users. Why are you doing
There's
this
a lot.
to me?
It's weird because Nintendo is seen as the like friendly, friendly, happy company. And then, yeah, they have a lot of things that are like just so intensely anti-consumer. It's very interesting. I'm a fan of Nintendo products. I basically auto buy any console that they release. I'll pretty much auto buy any like Mario platformer they ever release. But like, yeah, there's some really brutal things.
Whiskey Nerd
Nintendo
88
does.
says, so what Linus is saying is I should pirate Borderlands for PC since Xbox will not let me play it on their PC launcher.
He's not saying you should.
I have actually talked about that before. I've talked about that specific use case where you have purchased a license for a particular piece of content, and for whatever reason, whether it's a region lock, which personally I find pretty ridiculous and anti-consumer, whether it's a region lock or whether it's a platform lock, not a big fan. Now, there are cases where I think that you get into very, very shaky ethical ground for that. Like, for example, if we finally got a PC port of, say, a game that will never come to PC, like God of War. Okay? If we finally got a PC port for it, and you kind of go, oh, well, I'm mad about something, so I'm not going to give them any money for this. I can tell you right now that we're probably not going to get another PC port.
I loved that they did it and immediately bought one because like I was stoked about it.
So basically, you have to kind of consider the message that you are sending. So in the case of the Borderlands one, honestly, yeah, I find it pretty offensive that I can buy a copy of a game that runs on my Xbox and doesn't run on my PC. I'm calling on you to make your own decision. All I said in my tweet is you got to be aware of the impact. And that's what I'm saying right now. You've got to consider the impact. If we don't support your indie developers, or we don't support the change that we want to see in the world, like getting PC ports of formerly exclusive titles, then you are definitely part of the problem and part of the reason that will keep going. Now, if you decide, oh, you know what, the port was bad, then the answer is don't play it, right?
Or request a refund.
Yeah. So those are all of the decisions that you've got to weigh for yourself. That's all I said. Be aware. Mechanical Eve. Oh man, I guess we're talking about this more. Thoughts on abandonware?
Isn't that like I think that's, this is where we're running into that problem where like there's an actual thing that is abandonware, right? And once something becomes technical abandonware, then no, it is legally not piracy anymore, I believe, once it is technically abandonware. But do they mean technical abandonware? Or do they mean like it's been abandoned, but it's not technically abandonware yet?
Yeah, I am not sure. Like something like GoldenEye 007, where it's in rights holder hell.
Yeah.
Should you just pirate that game because you will never be able to buy it on Virtual Console?
And the only way you're actually going to go buy it is buying it from a secondhand situation anyways.
Yeah, where there's literally no money going.
The creator is not getting money from that anyways.
Yeah, that's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. Personally, I would without any guilt just play that game or use that software if there's no legal way to acquire it. But you got to make your own choices.
It's hard to give suggestions for this type of stuff. You just have to understand the impact that you're having and make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, Micro7 says, Linus, you didn't say beware of the impact. You defined ad blocking as piracy regardless of what the website's terms are. But the website's terms don't enter into it. I said consider the impact. The impact of not paying for something is that you pirated it. That's the impact. You just have to decide whether you're comfortable with that. Aight? Cool. Mechanical Evie says, yeah, I mean old vintage games you literally can't buy on any platform. Yeah. So that's one of those topics that could be an entire show, honestly, because there's so many weird edge cases, right? Like what if it's Final Fantasy Tactics, right? the PlayStation 1 version? What if I don't want to play the remastered version? What if I don't want a bunch of the names of the items and stuff to have changed? I want to have exactly the same experience that I had when I was a kid, and I will accept nothing else. I don't want to buy the mobile version because I don't want to play on mobile controls, or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's where you get into, like, I don't know, whatever you want to tell yourself, man. So,
and there's weird ways that you can justify that. And again,
sure,
these aren't suggestions, but something that you could do is buy the remastered version. Don't even like install it and then just pirate the OG version and play it that way. If you think that's a justification and you're okay with that and you're okay with the variety of things that come with that, then great. If not, then don't do it. You just need to understand, like you said, understand the impact and then do what you're going to do.
Yep.
Make a decision for yourself.
And the decision I'm going to make for myself is to tell you about our sponsors today. Boom, got them.
What a great way.
Corsair recently launched their first gaming monitor, the Xeneon. It features an ultra slim 32-inch QHD IPS panel, so it's 2560 by 1440, up to 165 hertz refresh rate, quantum dot technology with 100% coverage of sRGB, Adobe RGB, and 98% of DCI-P3. So it means very vivid, very natural colors. You can mount your camera, mic, or lighting with an integrated multi-mount point that's built into the aluminum stand. And you can learn more at the link in the video description. It looks super sexy, and 32 inches makes for a very immersive gaming experience. The show is also brought to you by Nordpass. It can be really hard to keep track of all the passwords you use on a daily basis, so you should set them all to be the same password, so you only have to remember one. Just kidding, Luke. Did you see the face he made? It was great. I loved it. Nordpass makes it so you can use unique passwords for all the services and sites that you use online, which is absolutely what you should do, and they keep it all safe in one location. It recognizes your favorite sites and autofills your information, allowing you to easily import passwords that were saved by your web browser or import a CSV from your old password manager. The built-in password generator helps you make new complex passwords so you can replace your simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or QWERTY passwords, and you can access your login credentials on any device even when you're offline. It features data breach alerts, password health reports, and up to 6 active devices, and Nordpass uses a zero-knowledge architecture so your data is encrypted on your device before it reaches Nordpass's servers for backup and sync. For 50% off a 2-year Nordpass premium plan with an extra month for free, check out nordpass.com/WAN and use code WAN to take advantage of this limited offer. And Vultr is a global cloud hosting service offering easy-to-deploy cloud servers, bare metal, and storage from all over the world. They offer high-speed public and private networking. They allow you to deploy instances with your preferred OS, and you can go from prototype to production in seconds with their control panel and API. You can deploy popular applications and games with one click, and they offer 24/7, 365 support. Check them out at lmg.gg/vultrwan. We're going to have that linked down below. All right. What shall we talk about next? Intel feeling fine after dodging a 1.06 billion euro fine. That's pretty cool. They won their appeal against the 1.06 billion euro EU antitrust fine from 2009. Now, this is an interesting one because this has been sitting in the court system for over a decade. The original case found that Intel was guilty of blocking AMD from the market by providing rebates to Dell, HP, and Lenovo if they sourced 95% of their chips through Intel. Well, that sounds like a pretty open-shut antitrust violation, but let's go on, shall we? Intel was also found to have paid a manufacturer to delay shipment of AMD desktops to enterprise customers. Well, that seemed perfectly legit. One OEM apparently turned down an offer of 1 million free CPUs from AMD so that it could continue receiving rebates from Intel. Now, okay, both of those behaviors seem kind of problematic.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be,
What the heck?
if I'm gonna be honest here.
We have often said neither side of the table has clean hands, but like, wow, that's I wonder what manufacturer that was, because both sides really want their business. It's probably like Dell or something. HP.
The EU's second highest court overturned the 12-year-old ruling that fined Intel for 4% of their $37.6 billion in sales in 2008, finding that the original analysis was get this, incomplete and does not make it possible to establish the requisite legal standard that the rebates have anti-competitive effects. You know what I want? I want the highest court in the land to be the court of common sense.
Ooh.
That's what I want. The court of common sense would be able to get through these cases like real fast. Be like, oh, okay, hold on a second. You are actually offering rebates to your customers to incentivize them to not buy a competing product. I don't actually need your requisite legal standard that establishes the anti-competitive effects, because that's just basic.
It's quite literally anti-competitive.
And it's also just like,
So sorry, this is for a previous topic, but there was a merch message that just came in that said the alternative phrase for piracy you're looking for should be privateering.
Privateering. Because of the ad blocking. Because of privacy. Privateering.
It fits okay in both, in terms both of same thing, maybe less severe context, and potentially your view of it as well, like the, yeah, sure, as well as the, blah, blah, blah. Potentially your view of it as well, like the English crown. Not great, but potentially just fine. Interesting.
Okay. I like it.
Privateering.
Privateering.
You're a privateer.
Okay. It's amazing how many people are still arguing about it and still mad.
Oh, Floatplane chat's just on fire.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, it's great. All right, what else we got? Yeah, the battle's been ongoing for years and included a rejection of Intel's initial appeal by the very same court back in 2014. During this initial appeal, Intel claimed that the fine violated its human rights. Why do corporations have human rights? The appeal was not successful because apparently that was the court of common sense back then. These kinds of rebates are generally concerning for regulators, especially when they are issued by a dominant competitor. Yeah, concerning, I think, is a mild word. This could be a good sign for Alphabet, who recently lost their appeal of a 2.4 billion euro fine for unlawfully combining Google Shopping with Google Search. Okay.
Which actually kind of, I don't know, that might be a good thing. But I liked that when that existed, because now I find that a lot of people default to Amazon because it's too hard to find what you want to buy elsewhere. And I try to avoid Amazon as much as I possibly can. But sometimes at this point, you don't really have a choice if there's a specific product that you do want or need or whatever, because it might just not be available anywhere other than Amazon, which is the problem that we're running into now. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's hard to find, because the front page of Google or whatever will just be shreked. I mean, these days, sometimes there's like 5 or 6 ad links before you get to any of the actual real ones, which can be really frustrating. But I've heard this sentiment elsewhere, and I've been thinking about switching to it. But some people have been saying that they've started using DuckDuckGo, not because they're trying to get away from like activity tracking or anything like that, but because the results are actually getting really good.
Right.
And part of that being because of the amount of like sponsored or purchased ad spots at the top of Google searches, and like how many there will be sometimes. Yeah, like I just mentioned, 5 or 6. Okay, well now you have to scroll through to find what you're looking for now.
It's like below the fold to find a decent search result.
Because it'll be all these ad spots, and then it'll be like picture links or whatever. Like it's often very buried. So they're like, yeah, I go to DuckDuckGo because it's often the first link. Because a lot of things that I'm looking for, it's easy to find. I don't remember the URL and the like, the slashes afterwards to find it, so I'm going to Google it. But for those types of things, or DuckDuckGo it. But for those types of things, DuckDuckGo is becoming literally more efficient, not just not tracking you and the other benefits that it has, but literally more efficient, which is really interesting. I hope it's DuckDuckGo's day, because that would be really cool.
I love this is a really great question. Knock23 over on Floatplane says, if I pay for Floatplane, can I block ads on YouTube? I'm paying you directly for the content and can already access it without ads. Okay, so here's the challenge. Again, this comes down to your own personal ethics, because as we've discussed before, ad blocking is not illegal, strictly speaking, right? So it's up to you. But the thing to consider is that Google is paying for that bandwidth. They are paying for that video hosting. Now, you might say, well, Susan's going to get her paycheck either way, which is, I think, one of the responses on Floatplane to you. And so, yeah, if you sleep perfectly fine at night, knowing that Google has literally billions upon billions and billions of dollars in the bank, and you feel like they're probably not going to miss it, then that's your own personal decision.
He's not telling you what to do. At no point in time has he told you what to do.
I actually didn't. I didn't.
Yeah. I think that's a big part that's being missed as well.
There's no skin off my back, that's for sure.
There's a merch message from Joshua H. who says, if I ad block creators who aren't eligible for AdSense, is it piracy? In the exact same thing that Linus just said. YouTube is still paying. YouTube is still paying for the servers. YouTube is still delivering you that video.
Those data centers ain't free.
Big money.
Huge money. I mean, YouTube was run at a loss for so long. Like, so long. And yeah, I think they're squeezing us a little now. Honestly. I mean, I pay for YouTube Premium because I can't stand ads on YouTube. There's a lot
of ads. There's a lot of double unskippable ads. That breaks me.
I've seen a triple.
I didn't even know that's possible.
Yeah, it might have been 1 skippable and 2 unskippable or something, but I was just like, I was not, because I have like 18 Google accounts, right? Because one for every channel. Yeah, so you're sometimes
logged into the wrong one and it plays ads. It's so annoying.
Yeah, and so I'm like, triggered, and I need to switch over to the thing. Listen to these fools literally pandering for Google. Are you kidding me?
No,
we're not.
We're not telling you what to do.
We're just telling you that things cost money in the actual real world. Things cost money. Ugh. Oh, man. And Knock23 says, thanks for saying my name properly. I pirate everything, but I want to make Daddy Linus happy. You actually do not pirate everything. You pay for Floatplane. You're on Floatplane. You do not pirate that. So that is one thing you didn't pirate. Yeah. Or Privateer.
Ah, yes. Yes.
I love that. We are switching to Privateer from now on.
I like it.
I'm super happy.
I privateered some games that I emulate.
There's so many good ethical conversations that have come up from this. Tim SP on Floatplane says, they ran at a loss for so long because they wanted to kill all the competition. What if I don't want to reward Google for killing all the competition?
Then don't do it.
Then that's
We're not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Stop. Come on.
Do your thing. Oh, man.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Figure it out, bud.
Oh, man. Yeah. You guys are great. You know, I really do think that our audience is such a cut above the typical YouTube audience. Like, you go into our comment section versus some, I'm not gonna single out some other vertical, but I could. There's some really toxic comment sections on YouTube, and not just toxic. Like, man, I'm full of hot takes today. Like, really stupid. Like, there's just low IQ comment sections. And I thank my lucky stars every day, because a big part of my job is reading comments. And it is so infrequent that I have to wade into a comment section on one of our videos that I'm just like, no! I think probably the last time it happened to that degree was when we did the video on whether water cooling your CPU cools down the room your PC is in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I know this is confirmation bias talking. Shut up. I know that this is confirmation bias speaking. But it felt like, okay? It felt like every single freaking comment was one of two things. It was either this video doesn't need to exist because obviously if your CPU is running 20 degrees cooler, the room is cooler. Or this video doesn't need to exist because obviously the thermal energy that is being output is identical. Therefore, the room is an identical temperature. And it was like 50-50. And I'm sitting here going, if frickin' either of you had read the other comment, you would know this video needs to exist.
Oh my goodness. I remember that.
Oh man, I just about died. It was one of the moments that I actually just went, I don't know if this career is worth it.
Oh man. Merch message from Anonymous. Devil's Advocate. I think you're just advocating for your own position, but that's okay. How does LTT feel about the fact that I pay for speaking that it's literally saying I am the devil's advocate. Anyways,
I am the devil. I am my own advocate.
How does LTT
Hear me, mortals, and tremble.
How does LTT feel about the fact that I pay for premium to avoid ads? Again, we're not talking about what we feel like. Anyways, I pay for premium to avoid ads, but every LTT video and everyone else skirts that and serves me a 30+ second ad read. We are both in the wrong. Is their statement at the end.
Yeah, so YouTube Premium does not entitle you to not viewing embedded sponsor callouts in the content. Also, one of the things that, again, comes down to just personal ethics is that we intentionally make our sponsor reads on LTT highly skippable, so to speak. So the reason that we do our first sponsor read right before the animated intro, which is about 8 seconds long,
you can scrub to see the end of the animated
it
intro.
is basically impossible to accidentally right arrow and miss any content, because you should land somewhere in the intro unless you manage to really bung it up, right? And then the reason that we do the second one right at the very end is so that it's at the end and it's over. The video, like sometimes we'll do fun little Easter eggs and stuff at the end, or we'll throw on another little thing or whatever the case may be. I mean, obviously we want you guys to hear the message from our sponsor so that they will pay us. So there's stuff like that, but we actually do go out of our way to make those reads as palatable as possible. We try to have fun with them. We try to add the segues. We try to make it a non-intrusive aspect of the content. And that was a very intentional decision because I don't like having ads and sponsorships shoved down my face. That's also the reason that we don't run YouTube mid-roll unskippable ads. We simply do not run them. It used to drive me absolutely crazy. This was another bash my head through the wall kind of thing. When people would accuse us of making a video 10 minutes and 1 second long so that we can get more money, when there was no mid-roll ad on it.
That was so epic. That happened so much.
So much.
That was so crazy.
It was so painful. It hurt my brain every single time I read it. It's like, we don't get paid for uploading a 10-minute and 1 second video, right? We don't get paid extra.
I'd see that on other channels too. That was definitely a YouTube-wide thing because enough people just talked about making more money from 10-minute videos that enough people just didn't understand. A lot of the audience was just like, oh, okay, they make more money. I don't need to know any more than this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's the ability to put a mid-roll in. That's what's going on.
Yeah. So if we didn't do it, then hey, there you go. So yeah, from your point of view, maybe you don't like it. From my point of view, I feel like we've met in the middle. We've tried to compromise. We've tried to make it as reasonable as possible. But as you can see, 35% of our income is from those spots, so they ain't going away anytime soon. Because if we just stopped doing them outright, then that would be impactful.
Rough.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rough.
Pretty rough.
All right. What do we? I mean, honestly, I don't know how much conversation there is to have about the Intel fine getting appealed.
I don't think there's a ton.
I think it's kind of ridiculous.
It's just that's a lot of money.
Okay, so here's a discussion question from one of our new writers who's not off probation yet. Do you feel like this sets a dangerous precedent for other dominant companies? Yeah. Now that AMD has clawed background in the CPU market, could we start seeing the same behavior from them? No, I don't think so. AMD is still not in a dominant position in anything. They are absolutely still an underdog in every market they participate in.
They just have a really strong foothold now.
They do.
Which they didn't before.
Correct.
Yeah.
But even in the data center space, where AMD, from a competitive standpoint, is slaying. I'm just not convinced they can make enough chips to be in a dominant position, right? Like Intel has their own fabs. And then this is an interesting one. Do you think the EU backed off on Intel because of the announced big honkin' fab? Gee. That's a pretty smart take. So I don't know if you read that somewhere else or if that's your idea, but if it's your idea, it's a pretty that seems pretty NFTs might come to YouTube.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Dislike button still dead.
I don't understand. CEO Susan Wojcicki?
Oh, hold on. I got a good one. Hold on.
All right.
603 on Floatplane says, I don't understand. How do YouTube's competitors make money? That's how YouTube should do it. YouTube's competitors don't make money. Okay, carry on.
YouTube's competitors don't exist.
Okay.
What's YouTube's competitor? Nice.
Facebook.
All right.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook makes money.
Facebook does make money. And they do it the same way, by collecting all your data and selling it.
Nice.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of more things that I don't understand, NFTs might come to YouTube. What does this mean? I still don't get it. CEO Susan Wojcicki?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay. Stated on January 25th, you put the thing right the way, that there...
Oh, sorry. It's a habit. I'm reading along with you.
That there's an update on our key priorities: the state of the creator economy, innovation, supporting the work of creators, and protecting the YouTube community. So all of that sounds great. She lists a bunch of great stuff like growth, jobs, economy, and then says NFTs and DAOs. They have highlighted a previously unimaginable opportunity to grow the connection between creators and their fans. Have they? They don't specify how they will use NFTs or now it says DOAs, but they like them. Cool. I literally have no clue what this means. Maybe that has something to do with like creator avatars or banners. Are they just doing pictures? Do they have some other implementation for it? Because NFTs, which a lot of people don't understand, it's not just some pictures. Like you can NFT more things than just links to pictures. So
could I like sell my video, but also there's no legal transfer of copyright ownership? So I don't get it.
I have no idea. I literally have no clue how this makes any sense. I don't know. You can right-click save a picture, and you can also save YouTube videos.
You sure can.
The same thing will happen if that's what happens. I literally have no clue what this even means. But NFTs might come to YouTube, whatever that means. It's just, I read this and was just like, what? Come on.
So I feel like we should talk a little bit about the take last week on NFTs, because that was my other really excellent hot take that I didn't think was that hot of a take.
Okay, yeah. So who was even against you? Was it both sides?
So here's why people were mostly mad, I think. They were mad because I wasn't highlighting the environmental impact of NFTs. And I got to confess that there was some ignorance there on my part.
Did we not? Okay.
I didn't realize how bad it was.
It's bad. It's real bad.
So I didn't realize how bad.
It doesn't have to be bad.
No, it could be not bad. In fact, there are ways to mint NFTs today that are not that bad. Okay. But you mint an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain, it's like...
Oh, real bad.
Mega bad. Okay, so that's my bad. I actually didn't realize that we're talking like a cross-continental flight worth of carbon emissions or something like
crazy.
That to mint an NFT. So okay, fair enough. But
Is that for like one person's portion of it, or are you saying the whole thing?
Apparently to mint it, it's like way up there, but don't take that as fact. So
I just know it's a lot. I don't know what you would
It's
compare
somewhere
it to.
in between what I thought it was, which was like non-inconsequential, but like not huge, and huge.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
It's really big.
The point,
Thick.
and the other thing is that, so the other thing people were mad about was just the sort of the, like just, I don't know, what would it be? Asininity? Like they're they're just kind of stupid, right?
Yeah.
They don't transfer any kind of rights to you or any kind of actual legal ownership. They're just, it's kind of the equivalent of having a man, I don't even know. There's almost nothing equally dumb. And so a lot of people were upset that I wasn't upset at how dumb it is. But I guess the thing
it's a certificate of authentication, but it's a certificate of authentication that could have come from anyone.
And is utterly meaningless, yes.
Because it could have come from anyone.
But here's the thing. All I was saying last week was that it doesn't surprise me. That was my point. And maybe I didn't do a good job of getting that across, but my point was just, clearly this ship has sailed. Clearly we were headed here. Because what is the difference between some skin on your gun or some hat that your character wears and this? I don't see the difference.
For some reason, really like having things and knowing that other people don't have it.
Well, yeah.
That applies to like a lot of stuff.
So it's a flex.
Yeah.
It's not the dumbest flex I've ever seen, to be perfectly blunt. There are some...
What's a dumber flex? Do you have an example?
Trump's gold toilet.
I mean, you could melt that down.
That's true.
And the value of gold generally goes up, right?
Honestly, I personally...
It's an investment toilet? Maybe it's really smart.
I think just about any depreciating asset, like luxury brand, pretty much anything. Okay, here.
You and I are both on the same
dumber
side
flex, Louis Vuitton luggage.
Okay.
Luggage.
Because it gets beat up anyway.
Because it is going to get kicked around in the back of a plane.
I've always, the same piece of luggage that I've had literally forever, that I what did we call it? Privateered from my mom. It's fabric, right? And it's held up really well, in my opinion, because it's fabric.
Right.
So it's been able to, if it takes an impact, it doesn't care. It just bends. And I've known people that have had luggage just straight up break in a way shorter period of time because they have hard shells. So they actually kind of counterintuitively take more damage. But I only ever put clothes and soft stuff in that luggage anyway. So why do I care?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Sweet.
Okay, float plane is all about the gold controller, apparently. So, like the gold toilet, I think you could make a very similar argument. The gold controller could be melted down.
Technically appreciates it.
And we have a potential buyer. But the problem is that they want to fly here to pick it up.
And right now it's just
now is just not a great time.
Yeah.
Also, we need to fix something about it because the shoulder buttons suck. The triggers are okay, but the shoulders don't flex properly because it's one solid piece across and plastic bends and gold doesn't. Well, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we're going to give them that cast piece of gold, but we want to replace it with a plastic one. And then we're also hoping to reposition the antenna so that it can go through the plastic so that the reception's a little bit better because it's mostly only usable
more
wires.
Usable.
Yeah. So that's what we kind of still need to sort out. But yeah, no, I think we're going to be able to sell it for about what we paid.
This is another one where there's a bunch of people in Floatplane chat trying to point out purchases that you have made that don't necessarily make a ton of sense. He's not saying he has never made a purchase that's a little odd. You bought I don't think anyone even mentioned this, but the MSI Dragon.
That thing's so cool. I didn't buy it. I only had to pay for shipping.
Oh, okay.
It was a not inconsequential amount.
You still had to pay a lot for shipping.
I feel like I got my money's worth out of it,
yeah,
though.
Sweet. And if you get your money's worth out of whatever,
I turned it into content. Content, boys. You got to understand what my business is, right?
That's
when
fair,
okay, here's something.
And that was the idea behind the gold controller, actually, as well.
Yes. So the solar panels.
Starring Luke.
Ouch.
Sorry.
That's my favorite big red dragon right there.
Oh, there we go.
So when we picked out the solar panels for our roof, I wanted solar panels because that's cool. But we ended up going with these super fancy solar panels because I figured it would be a video. And so if it's content, that's great because it's one more video idea I don't have to come up with, which actually does have a cost. I literally hire people whose job it is to come up with ideas. So the solar panels we got, they're here now, and I'm super excited. They're super cool. They're from this company called Dual Sun, I think. And what they are is their combination solar panels to generate energy and water heaters. And then we're going to pump that water into the pool. Yeah. So we're actually going to heat our pool with just by cooling our solar panels, which makes the solar panels more efficient and makes the pool cost less to heat.
That's just awesome.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And it's content.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to take forever to pay for itself because they were like more expensive or something. I actually don't know if we bought them or they were discounted or anything, but theoretically they were more expensive and I was committed to them either way because I really wanted to make a video about it because it's super cool.
Yeah.
So
was it more expensive than having, as inefficient as this would be due to like the premium areas for having solar panels and et cetera, but would it be more expensive than having two separate sets? Like water heating solar panels?
Well, the problem is that you've only got so much roof area, especially in Vancouver, to
really
actually
inefficient.
Put solar panels on where they're going to get a decent amount of sunlight. And they can do this whole like simulation thing.
So there's a big amount of value, though, is what I'm saying, by having it do both in one area.
Yeah.
And it might literally save money compared to buying two sets,
Yes.
which would be stupid anyway.
And cooling the panels makes them, like, I forget what it is. It's like every however many degrees, it gets however much percent more efficient. Like, it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
If you're fiery servers, what are fiery
I don't know.
servers?
I didn't think you'd know either, so I just fired it off.
Okay, cool, got it. Neat. Do we have any other topics lined up? Oh, we didn't even talk about. No, we didn't talk about the other thing.
Huh?
Holy crap! I hope people noticed this. There's another launch today. The tote bag.
Hey, people have noticed that, by the way.
The tote bag is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's available in 2 different colors. If you like the fiery, exciting, multicolored one, you can go with that. If you prefer the monochrome, you can go with that. It's available in 2 different sizes, 35 by 42 centimeter and 42 by 42 centimeters. So you can see the 2 different sizes here next to each other. Super high quality, just like, everything we do, because that's what we do. 100% polyester canvas. Really, really nice printing, super vibrant. Pictures are not juiced up at all. You guys can see, like here on WAN Show, this is what it looks like. But yeah, this was one of Lloyd's little brainchild projects. He did the design for it, and I'm actually not sure who saw this one through the whole manufacturing process, but just lots of little touches. Like we made sure to use box stitches in addition to what they originally had, which was just these 2, if I recall correctly. I was like, no, I don't want the handles coming off, so we need to make sure that we're serious business, making sure they stay on. I mean, what's the point of a reusable bag that you have to throw away? Stupid.
Jaden said canvas. Bethesda couldn't even afford that. That's a fantastic reference, Jaden.
Gotta love it. It's an older meme, but it checks out. Yeah.
That's good.
I guess we hadn't really finished our discussion on NFTs on YouTube. We just kind of talked about how NFTs were stupid, and then we
But do you have any ideas of what they could possibly even be talking about?
I mean, they could just copy what Twitter did and make it
for
so
avatars,
that people, so people can NFT their avatars. I wouldn't be surprised if they allow users, if they make it like a YouTube premium feature or something like that, so people could have maybe their user.
If you buy an NFT, you probably got that money.
Their user profile pictures bigger or something like that.
Oh.
I could totally see people paying for that kind of thing. I think that allowing creators to sell NFTs to their audiences through the platform could absolutely be a thing that they would do. Apparently they actually made a statement. I didn't realize this. I thought the dislike button still dead was just Plouffe being funny in the title. They apparently addressed it again. Dislikes are still dead despite hearing the valid complaints. They go on to cite the original reasons, like dislike attacks on smaller creators, and that was it. We did not see a meaningful difference in viewership regardless of whether or not there was a public dislike count, and importantly, it reduced dislike attacks. Okay. Sure.
Cool.
The discussion question is, so videos are still getting the same amount of views, but now you don't know if the information is good or bad. How is this better? Plouffe, the horse is so dead. The horse is so dead.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about it anymore, I don't think. Ooh.
There's a merch message talking about YouTube Premium again. To be clear, we're not trying to shill YouTube Premium. We just both have it, and that is technically the alternative.
I have it lots of times.
Yeah.
I own YouTube Premium on my personal account, on my work account, on the LTT account, on the Tech Quickie account. That was a Terran specific request. I believe we own it on the Channel Super Fun account. I have to buy YouTube Premium because the editors often go in and pull stuff out of our old videos, even if they're going to go back and get the original footage anyway. It's
easier to browse through YouTube than it is going through an archive of
really is
footage.
So we actually use YouTube in the course of our work a lot, and it was requested many times to me that I buy premium for all of the work accounts, so I did. And if I haven't, then I'm sorry. We'll get premium added to that one if any of our editors are watching going, no, I still have to sit and watch ads whenever I'm working on MAC address or whatever the case may be. So yeah, no, we're not shilling for it. We're just telling you that's how it works. That's you either consume the ads or you pay for premium. Or you privateer it. Privateer it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a flanker. Says people in tech that dislike NFTs is because of the terrible implementation, and most could be done without the massive energy use and massively distributed ledger. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, there's also just the laughable stuff, like if the host of that particular NFT minting service goes away, isn't the link just dead, and then it's just
depends where the link goes to.
Yeah,
sometimes it's not the site that sold it. Sometimes the link is elsewhere. But yeah.
Hilarious. Ganja Gremlin, I literally said it's easier to browse. We're going to still grab the original footage. Come on. Linus, you can add multiple users to a premium account. Yes, I don't remember what the issues were with having all those accounts be a family. I think there was a reason. I don't know. It's honestly outside of my pay grade to go investigate the difference of $11 between one implementation versus another. I'm sure somebody could look into that. Yeah. Cool. People are asking how many flannels are left. I mean, yeah, we've moved a lot of them, but I think we ordered a lot, so it's probably fine. Shoot. I should probably mention we did not do much in the way of a public announcement, but anyone who signed up for a WAN hoodie restock notification, we got it. We sent the notifications. We moved through over a quarter of our restock already. So I'm letting WAN Show know next, and then if we have enough left, then we'll do an in-video call out or something for it. But we're kind of trying to go easy on that, so we didn't even put it back on the homepage and stuff because we wanted to give you guys a crack at it. I tried to privateer the undies, but you pushed it. Okay.
It wasn't a question or anything. It will show on screen.
Okay, how about we go ahead and we demand an alpaca wool moose plushie. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Rip Hyperscape. Really?
So, did you know what this was?
I had never even heard of Hyperscape.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm pretty tuned in to, the gaming scene and stuff.
Yeah.
Never once in my life have I ever heard of Hyperscape. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, so it's a free-to-play battle royale from Ubisoft, and it's shutting down on April 28th after less than 2 years of production. Apparently, it had a strong start.
Never heard of it. Not so sure if I agree with that.
Am I an idiot? Am I just...
I don't know. I've literally never heard of this.
They announced another battle royale, Ghost Recon Frontline, that is now delayed indefinitely. They announced that in 2021.
Good. You've beat and damaged the Ghost Recon name too much already.
Maybe the Battle Royale craze is over now that we have Fortnite, PUBG, Apex, and Warzone. Feels kind of similar to the MOBA craze. Yeah, that's actually pretty that's pretty spot on, Ploof. Yeah. It does. Remember when there was a new MOBA every frickin' month?
Conrad in Floatplane chat is just Hyperscape? ? It's what? Oh, tons of people in Floatplane chat are going I've never heard of this. Hyper what? ? No one knows what this game is.
Twitch chat knows. They're there were a ton of sponsored streams and stuff. It was part of the Twitch drop beta craze.
Okay.
So
there's a bunch of sponsored streams, and then it was.
So they didn't market it outside. It's almost like sponsoring streamers who stop playing your game immediately after they're not getting sponsored by it is actually just a zero impact marketing activity.
Yeah. Conrad said it lost apparently something like 90% of its player base in a week. Whew.
Wow.
Yikes.
That's crazy. General 97. I think I played it once and immediately forgot, only just remembered now.
Maybe that's why. Maybe we have heard of it and its name is just so generic and it was just so unimpactful that we just immediately forgot.
Man. Oh, man. So there was the MMO craze. Then there was the MOBA craze. Then the Battle Royale. I wonder what the next big craze is going to be.
I don't think there's anything kind of like rolling right now.
I kind of thought that, after Among Us and then, oh man, what was that?
Social games? That was a thing for a little bit because there was Among Us popped off. Then there was that like winter one that I don't remember the name of.
But what was that? What was that like game show one that was super fun?
Oh, that's kind of still pretty good. Jackbox?
No. The one where you have to go through the challenges and at each stage a bunch of people get eliminated. I actually played it a bunch. Why can't I remember the name?
Fall Guys?
Yeah, Fall Guys. I kind of thought after that went like mega viral that we were going to see a bunch of copycats of that format, but it kind of didn't materialize. But I guess it also hasn't really been long enough. Like game development takes a long freaking time.
Battle Royale.
Copying a game that is already out, bad play.
Yeah.
Bad play. You got to have better espionage than that. Tarkov extraction type modes. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think that's going to be like
Tarkov
a huge thing though.
Has been in development since I think it's 2016. And this whole time it's been this like really poorly made but really cool game and no one has copied it and it's been very confusing to me. I don't know. I have said before that if a big AAA developer tried to copy Tarkov, they would fail. They would horribly fail because they would try to attach some gross microtransaction crap on top of it, and it just would not work in that type of game at all. So like it's not gonna. I think that's one of the reasons why no one's copying it is they're looking at it, seeing that, and then just going, nope, we'll just leave it to BSG, and they'll just do what they do with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it was funny going to shows like PAX, like during those eras. Do you remember, what was it called? WildStar, that MMO that was just like...
Dude, the most baller, massive booth for so many years.
How long did that game even stay online?
I don't think it was very long.
2 years? 3?
They had I remember exactly where too. I could walk there if the convention was open right now. They had in the exact same spot for so many years. Like just the announcement, they had this massive amazing booth. Then they had like I think alpha, then they had the beta, just like year after year after year, this massive incredible booth, so much marketing money behind it, and then it just died because that came, you mentioned the MMO craze, that came at kind of a little bit past the end.
Yep.
So just no one really cared anymore. They weren't into it.
And then like the next year, it was just every booth was a MOBA.
Yeah.
Just every booth.
Yeah.
So here it is. Released 2014, mid-2014 with a subscription. Free to play only a year later.
That's
just over a year later. And then blah, blah, blah. On September of 2018, 3 years later, they announced the immediate closure of Carbine Studios and that WildStar would begin the process of winding down. And they wound down 2 months later, 2.5 months later. Ouch.
The death of MMO servers is a really interesting thing to witness.
Yeah.
Every one that I've been a part of, I've tried to make local recordings of it so that I could like... Because that's one of the things we've talked about on WAN Show before, and there's some videos on it online. You can't preserve MMOs.
No,
you can't do it.
You can't.
Because even if you spin up another version of it, you're not going to capture the same culture. You're not going to capture the same type of player base.
Nope.
Like the way that people played games in the past is actually different than the way that people approach playing games now. There was I brought this up the other day. There used to be this thing where like if you're playing an RPG, MMO or not, it doesn't matter. There used to be a thing where people would generally just wear the armor or weapons or whatever that looked the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thing anymore. Everyone wants to min-max stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care as much about aesthetics. They want to be the best. It's a very different
that no
way
one ever
of,
was.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. There's a very different way of approaching games these days. So you can't just spin up an old MMO and imagine it's going to be the same. No. So it's it's
and
really
I mean even just the way that we interact online is so different.
Oh,
like it used to be that you had to have a crew. You had to have kind of like a tech-savvy anchor to your crew because someone had to set up the vent or mumble server and like maintain it.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, everybody just kind of like jumps in Discord. So it's a different dynamic, and it's
A lot of communities used to have their own forums.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that.
So you had to have like someone who could do basic web admin stuff. Mm-hmm. Like it was really interesting, and just none of those things. You can't emulate that stuff anymore. I remember this is pretty off topic, but I remember back in the day, I used to run I figured out that you could change something in the like commands that were run when the program was opened. Wow, I haven't done this in forever. To make it so that you could actually open a second version of Ventrilo. Because if you didn't do that and you opened it again, it would just pull forward the currently running application. So I'd run 2 different versions of Vent, and I'd have different hotkeys for both. So I could like trash talk people that were there with my buddies while we were all like playing together. That was we were jerks, but I don't know. It's just everything's just so different now. People are going to Twitch stream whatever you do. If you're in a big group of people playing, someone's probably streaming it. That's a very different experience. Like it's just, I don't know. It's very weird.
Obvious Lobster says it's okay. We enjoyed it while it existed. That's what's important. But the thing is that nobody else will ever get to enjoy it. It's kind of lost.
Yeah.
Matthias says VR MMOs are the future. Embrace it. I don't know if I could spend MMO amounts of time in VR. I think that'd be pretty tough for me.
That'll be an interesting thing to see transition over time. I think they would need something like, this is like way future, but they would need something like Neuralink style to make that a thing, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it merch messages time?
It might be merch messages time.
There might be a few of them.
Anthony threw in a topic about how Nvidia launched the RTX 3050, and it's obviously already sold out.
It's gone.
So
what are we going to do this week?
We're just going to have to buy that crappy AMD card, the 6500 XT.
Yep.
Yeah. So, hey, at least I don't even know if that's in stock. It's actually like, I wonder if it was like big brain move from AMD to actually just make it intentionally suck, or if it just sucks because they suck. It's really hard to tell with them. Sometimes, like, to be clear, I love AMD, but like, yeah, you guys are just sort of dumb sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even 6500 XTs are not in stock on Newegg under $270. That's the cheapest, and only ASRock and PowerColor are in stock, which are like, ASRock I can't speak for because ASRock wasn't making GPUs back when I was in product management, but PowerColor was like basement tier in terms of what AMD card buyers wanted. When we brought in like a bunch of PowerColor cards, they better be cheap because AMD buyers wanted XFX, like your tier 1 motherboard brands like MSI Gigabyte, Asus, Sapphire people like for some reason. I had a really bad customer service experience with Sapphire back in like the early 2000s, so I basically swore off them for life, but some people swear by them. I don't get it. They must have just like better service in other regions or something like that, because maybe mine was awful.
As far as my understanding goes, they are more popular elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
it must be just one of those
things. That might
things.
actually be a thing, yeah.
But yeah, PowerColor was like basement. I don't know if that's changed, to be clear. I'm not talking smack about PowerColor now. I know they've got some really cool cards that they've done over the years, like that Devil series that they've done and stuff like that. Also, this one happens to be an ITX card, which appears to be the only one out of what's available right now, which is at least gives that GPU a reason to exist if you're putting it in a super compact build. GG Unholy says, Linus, PowerColor makes the best AMD cards you can buy now. Okay, well, there you go. Shows you what I know. Demon Fox 69 says Sapphire gets gold AMD chips for sure. Yeah, I'm not convinced. That's always been like the rumor. I have no idea who started it. I have no idea who keeps perpetuating it, but I sincerely doubt it.
Someone sent in a merch message that didn't have a question, but they said, please send me an email when the backpack gets released. I don't know. So we might set up pre-launch pages at some point.
Talked to Nick about that yesterday, actually, and what we discussed was that I still do not want to take prepayment. I have a serious discomfort with taking your money before I have a product that I can imminently ship you. And there are cases where we take the money before we're ready to ship, like with the CPU hoodie, which, by the way, I believe this is pretty much going to be your last chance to get your hands on the first run of that. Let me just see if I can find it. It might actually be pulled already. Oh, no, here it is. Yep. So you can still order the first production run of these. Should ship by February 11th. Super cool hoodie. This is the first, but we already have the blanks. We have the blanks. Our shop is local. That's going to print them up for us. So it's all good. We've done the test prints and everything already. But in terms of items that have not yet arrived in our warehouse, I really don't like taking money for them, because what if they don't? What if the ship sinks? You know? And it's another 4-6 months before I can get them. Am I going to pay you interest on that? Like, I don't like it. I think it's a bad time.
Yeah.
But for stuff like the backpack, stuff like the screwdriver, where these are long-term projects, we've put a lot of resources into. They will not flop. They will come. I feel like just having somewhere to point you guys where you can register your interest would really help us with product planning as well. With, hey, do we actually need to order more backpacks? Like, should I be taking out a loan to order more backpacks, for example, stuff like that. So yes, I think it is our intention to do that, but I'm not sure exactly when, if that makes sense. Okay, I think it's time for us to do some merch messages now. We got to do this. Do you want to sort through the incomings while I start making my way through some of the curated ones? You guys actually sent too many this week.
I've literally been trying to do that like the whole show.
Yeah, we cannot do them all, but I'm going to do my best to go through some cool ones.
We're at well over 200.
Justin W says, when Labs is up and running, would you consider testing the mousepad again? Improve testing device, different mice, wear and tear, etc. Yeah, absolutely. So mousepads is something that I think we can contribute scientific testing to that is not done outside of the manufacturer space. And I don't think it's a secret. We're working on some kind of mouse concept for ourselves. So it's all stuff that we would have to figure out how to do anyway. So if we're going to do it, we might as well use it to evaluate other products. First-time buyer, looking forward to it. My mom gets noise complaints when movies have loud parts. I want to get her an audio compressor or limited, but all I can find is expensive audiophile stuff.
Sounds
Do you
like
have any
home
cheap
theater.
recommendations? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Other than turning down your subwoofer, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, I know that some receivers, for example, have like a nighttime mode where they will intentionally, they'll intentionally flatten it out a little bit. But in terms of like an add-on device for that, I'm honestly not really. I have never researched that. Never even occurred to me.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I just was in the same boat, so I was like, I don't know.
Good evening, guys. I'm going car shopping tomorrow. Wanted to see if you thought that the current plug-in hybrids were worth taking a look at. Are you still happy with the Volt, or do you have a wandering eye? I love that. I love that phrasing. Do you have a wandering eye? You know the meme, right?
So suave.
Holding hands and yeah. Honestly, I think the Volt was one of my most practical purchases ever. I burn about a tank of gas every 3 months, 2 to 3 months, which is kind of incredible given that it's like a 30-liter tank.
Yeah.
I paid practically nothing for gas. And what I like about the plug-in hybrid concept is that compared to an all-electric vehicle, the amount of lithium required to manufacture it is fractional. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
That's a really nice having the fallback.
But as we acknowledged in my review of it, it also comes with additional complexity, right?
2 drivetrains.
You've got a full electric. Well, it's only sort of. So technically, the Volt is an EV with a gasoline generator attached to it.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay.
But there are ones that are
that's fair.
The other way, and mechanically. But the point is that mechanically, it is more complex than all of one or all of the other.
There's trucks and actually a lot of other applications right now that are looking into. There's a specific name for it, and someone in the chat's going to get upset because I'm going to say it wrong. But it's some type of like extremely highly efficient diesel generator powered electric vehicle setup that is supposed to just be like amazing.
The bee's knees, hey?
Yeah, but I don't know enough about it, but it's interesting.
So I've been super happy with it. I've gotten, in my mind, all of the benefits of an electric vehicle. I get to drive in the HOV lane by myself. I never change my brake pads because I just use regenerative braking all the time. I hardly pay for fuel. But I get all the benefits of ICE. I have no range anxiety. I didn't pay the cost of a full EV, especially because I didn't buy it brand new. I get that pep off the line, but it's not a powerful vehicle. It's not a performance vehicle. So like, sure, that's compared to my old Civic, right? But I'm really happy with it. But the thing is, you can't buy them brand new. So my other candidate was the Clarity, and honestly, my in-laws are super happy with the Model Y, which is just like a giant Model 3. I think it's kind of hard to go wrong with full electric or with a plug-in hybrid. But what I would say about a plug-in hybrid is make sure you find one that has enough range. So really think about how you're using it. Where do you live? Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where do you... Sorry.
Do people still know that song?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was wondering about that the other day because I made a Cotton Eye Joe joke and I got a extremely flat response and I was like,
okay.
Oh, maybe this isn't sung at every school dance anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's not a thing.
I just did the shirts, right? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, I really, make sure you consider where you're going. And where you're going to be able to charge, right? I do want to upgrade. I've talked to Luke. He thinks I'm an idiot.
Well, I just am not.
Luke thinks the optics are bad and that I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Is that fair?
It's an overly simplified version of what I'm saying, but essentially,
have we distilled it down to the essence?
Essentially, yeah. How much was it?
I mean, there's a range, boys.
Okay. The most recent one I've heard of, I strongly agree with everything you just said. I'll put it that way.
My Volt is a 2018? 2017?
I don't think you have to go as practical as you did with the Volt. Okay.
Fine. Okay. You know what? Let's just lay it out. Let's lay it all out on the table. I want to buy a Taycan. I want to park it in my fancy new garage.
That wasn't even the one I'm talking about.
Oh, which one were you talking
about? The Taycan's pretty rough, but
Oh, you mean the
whatever? I don't know its name.
Oh crap! What's that stupid thing called? I actually went as far as emailing a dealer and finding out.
It's too far.
Hold on. What's it called? A Nevera? Rimac Nevera. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay,
so how much is this thing?
Taycan starts at around 100K Canadian and goes as high as 300 if you're really
that's
ridiculous.
Nuts, but sure. How much is a Nevera?
1 point something million euro.
Yeah, okay.
2 point something million euro.
Yeah, sure. Neat. Yeah, that's cool.
Hold on, let me check. Come
on.
Let me check.
Ugh, that makes me want to puke.
Nevera. Hold on, let me find out how much it is.
I definitely still want to go for a ride if you got one, but I would
2 million euro. Yeah, 2 million euro.
That's
for the Nevera.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not happening. So yeah, okay. So fine. Where's the middle ground? What may I have without you judging me?
I don't know, and I feel like whatever I come up with is going to be vague and not based on enough stuff. To be fair, but I've just spending over $100,000 on a car seems nuts to me.
So Jake had a pretty good take on this. He kind of goes, well, you know what the smart play is? Whether you lease it through the business or not, because I think I could make a pretty solid argument that as long as I post enough pictures on Instagram or it's included in the videos enough that it's...
Which you'll probably make a review of it or whatever.
Yeah, sure. So fine, it's for the business, right?
And that will help it a lot.
He goes, whether it's through the business or not, you should lease it because some of the battery technology that is coming around the corner here
Yeah.
is going to make our current battery tech look absolutely
And that's legitimately
Stone
a
Age.
big part of my argument too. is
Cars are
like-
becoming like computers.
Yeah.
Where I am expecting, like, honestly, Teslas, because of the shortages and because of the scarcity in general, like early Teslas actually on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist and stuff, they hold their value
retaining value really
shockingly well.
Yeah.
That will change. We are going to see some real leaps forward in the technology that are going to make the older EV stuff look like kind of dumb. Like you can think of it kind of
And
like
spending
the,
like 300 grand on that to look kind of dumb in X, which is a not large number amount of years.
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm not into it.
So the new Taycan has Android Auto, which was a big part of the reason that I ultimately was like, forget it with the old one, because their in-car entertainment system was so bad and Android Auto was not included that I just felt I was just offended. I was offended.
Yeah.
Knock23 says Cybertruck or go home. Well, I guess I'm going to go home because I'm so far not convinced the Cybertruck will ever launch. So we'll see.
Yeah, that was a rough one before there was a chip shortage.
Apparently the Taycan has battery issues. Like what? I do not know about that, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Someone in chat said, I think I'll use my 2011 Toyota RAV4 with 120,000 miles on it until it literally can't move anymore. I'm kind of feeling that way about my car, but I'm honestly only feeling that way just because I like it.
I know for a fact that
I like my car.
that something cool would be kind of fun for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should get something cool. I bet Jake would be happy to help you find something cool. Jake has forbidden me to spec out a Taycan without consulting him first.
I think it would be mean if I bought a car without talking to Jake.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think it would actually just be mean.
If I didn't consult both him and Alex, I think I'd be getting the like stink eye when I came into the office.
Yeah, for sure.
I tweet like, I did it. They'd be like, like, really, dude? Really?
There's definitely cars that would be fun to own. I don't think I would necessarily go for it, at least not now, but yeah. I think a big part of that, again, is that I just genuinely really like my car. And for some reason, the fit. A lot of other cars just feel kind of odd. And I remember the first time I sat in my car, I was like, yeah, this feels great.
Yeah, your car's also probably fast enough for you. I've been in Luke's car when he drives it. He doesn't need anything faster.
Are you talking about when we had to catch the ferry? Hey, we got there.
And we lived, which is good.
Yep.
Brandon T says, any plans for plaid flannel in a wider color gamut? It is possible. We're going to see how this one goes. Love the WAN show. What are your thoughts on PC power consumption? Is it something you think about when building your home server? Do you power down your computer when you're not using it or let it go to sleep? I remote into my computer far too often for that to be convenient, and remote wake is just not reliable enough for me.
Yes.
I would like to be able to power it down, or sleep it rather. I would never power it down. Sleep is good enough for me, but that's kind of my take on that.
Exactly identical and the exact same reasons. If remote wake worked better, I would sleep my computer all the time, but I don't because it just isn't better. Sleep just has so many problems and has always had so many problems.
Hey, Linus, it's been claimed that you have ADHD. If this is true, or even if it's not, what has worked for you to be successful while doing something you love? Honestly, I don't know if I even want to finish college. So I'm getting into real dangerous territory. I ain't a certified life coach, and I'm not sure anybody is. Is there a certification for that? If there is, it's probably a scam.
Yeah.
I have been diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid. I don't know if the hyperactivity is still applicable. I'm definitely older. Don't move around as much as I used to. But I definitely do. I mean, I'm sure anyone who's ever worked with me for a prolonged period of time can attest to the fact that I will just drift off in the middle of a conversation and be thinking about completely something else. It's not something that I do to be disrespectful. It's just something that is, for better or for worse,
Also, not the only one here that does that.
What you get. And what worked for me, but it is not advice, to be successful while doing something I love is doing something I love. That was the only way that I was able to be successful. I flunked out of school. I didn't make it. And I'm not gonna say that it was anyone's fault other than my own. I just didn't have the stuff to complete my science program. And when I switched over to an arts program, I just didn't feel like that piece of paper was going to end up being worth anything. And I ultimately made the decision to withdraw, but only because I started taking more arts courses with the intention of switching to an arts program, but I never did. So I was just in the science faculty taking arts courses. And either I was going to have to transfer, which was going to be a problem with how bad my science grades were, or they were going to kick me out of the university outright, or I would leave. So those were really my three options. So you can't fire me, I quit. So I left, but essentially I flunked out. And I have managed to do something that I love by just doing something that I love. That's where we're at on that. Have you made a final decision on what type of television you're getting at the new place? Yeah, we're going to go projector. We're going to go projector until micro LED becomes a thing. Although that new OLED, it's like 90-something inches or something like that from LG. Woo! Woo! And Samsung's new stuff, but they're not really big. Their new quantum dot OLED, James said they're just fire. Incredible.
That's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with something really nice, but not insane, seeing how fast display technology is moving right now. Do you think we'll see a transition away from x86 on the desktop in the coming years? I don't see it happening anytime soon. I just don't. Not on the desktop.
Happy birthday. I'm probably... Benoit. How would you pronounce that?
Benoit? Benoit.
Benoit? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so. I wasn't sure. Happy birthday, Benoit.
Hi from New Zealand, boys. Been watching since whole room water cooling. I'm planning an Unraid build for my Plex storage. Do I buy more smaller capacity drives, like 8 terabytes for cheaper, or fewer of the larger drives and spend more? Personally, okay, so Unraid gives you a lot of flexibility. You're ignoring the option of getting one larger capacity drive and a bunch of smaller ones, and then adding higher capacity ones later as they get cheaper, as long as they don't exceed the capacity of your parity drive. So that's an option. It basically comes down to balancing the cost per bay of your server and the cost per drive. Don't forget to factor that in. So I can't do the math for you. You're going to have to go through, you're going to have to look at the chassis you want, how much it costs per bay in the front, and calculate what it costs per populated bay, not just looking at raw drive prices, if that makes sense. Speaking of YouTube Vanced, what's your guys' take on the sponsor block extension, which is available in Vanced and as a browser extension? So I have intentionally never talked about the sponsor block extension because sponsor block is, in my opinion, taking something that I feel like we do a reasonably good job of. Like, you can skip our sponsor spots with 4 taps on your phone or with like 2 arrow keys. I think it's not a lot to ask for you guys to at least give us a chance to tell you about something interesting. Sponsor block, in my opinion, is not something that I would condone the use of. I don't use it. I don't use it. I have made the personal decision to not use it. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. Any plans for having guests or different hosts on the WAN show? Honestly, I've really enjoyed it just being like mine and Luke's hangout opportunity for the week.
Yeah, we used to do that, but it actually took quite a bit of work.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it really did.
Coordinating with creators is hard, and it's not like their fault, but it's just hard. People have really varied schedules. You got to get content out, especially if you have a content schedule, which a lot of, I would say most big creators probably do. You got to get that content out for that schedule. That's what matters most. Not like joining some random dudes wearing flannels internet talk show.
Yeah, people are busy.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the new fan testing setup at Gamers Nexus? Looks absolutely sweet. I have wanted one of those things for like 10 years. Ever since I saw it at Corsair, I was like, OMG, one day. I'd love to get one myself, and then it would be super cool if we could sort of corroborate each other's results and But otherwise, I think over there they just do amazing work over at Gamers Nexus. Tons of respect for them. So it's relatively low on our priority list compared to things that they are not covering in as much depth. It is something that we will add at some point, just because we want to be able to test everything in house. But it'll come later. Any plans for more smart home content? Yes. There's actually we managed to catch the house the day before they started boarding everything up. So with all the walls exposed, but everything installed. So I was able to walk through the plan.
Cool. Yeah, that's sweet.
And my ulterior motive for shooting that video was that if I ever need to find something behind the wall later, I'll be able to go watch that video and remember where that was buried.
That's cool.
What monitor would you recommend for a 3080 Ti that wouldn't break the bank? Looking for 1440p with HDR, but there's way too many options. I've been running a $150 1080p for a while. It's honestly painful. So one thing I'll say is that if you're after HDR, don't settle for anything less than VESA HDR 1000, because you're not really getting an HDR experience if you go like VESA HDR 400. It's not HDR. And you might not want to hear that, but that's just the truth, because the dynamic range, right, is not high. So it's the fact that we call it HDRant. James coined it. Can't take credit for that.
That's pretty good.
HDRant is what we'll call really anything VESA HDR 400, 600. I would say 600 is better than nothing. VESA HDR 400 is basically like, yeah, it's inputting an HDR signal, but the only benefit you're getting out of it is if the game or the piece of content was mastered better in the HDR version, it might look better. But that comes down to mastery, not the capabilities of the display. So that's what I have to say about that. That's the main thing you're gonna wanna watch out for. Because other than that, it sounds like you've kind of nailed down what you want.
There's a question here asking if you're ever going to react to the Ethan and Dennis sneaking around your house video. Apparently on a previous WAN show you said you would.
I think we just kind of all forgot about it and moved on. So
are you messaging them now, or should I follow up?
No, that's we'll probably do it as like a float plane exclusive or something like that.
Okay.
But I live in Ohio, where Intel is committed to investing in a large facility, adding 3,000 jobs. I have experience in auto manufacturing and wondering if you would know what kind of creds they look for fab jobs. I have no idea. I'm so sorry, but no, I have no idea. When do you think you could tease any of the people that will be working in the lab? When we have employment letters signed. And we don't yet, but we have...
How's that one going?
I think we are going to reach an agreement on the big one that I'm after. Yeah. Nice. There's a big fish that I've been trying to reel in, and I think it's going to be a go. All right. Plaid for the win. Yeah, indeed. Hey, Linus and Luke. Love the show. It's my go-to for the drive to work. First time catching it live. What mics are you using?
I don't remember what these are called.
RE20s from Electro Voice.
Yep.
I believe they provided them. So if they did, thanks, Electro Voice. And if they didn't, then hey, still a good product.
Yeah, I was going to say, you made a good mic.
Oh, no. Tyler O asks, what do you think of the whole Neil Young, Joe Rogan, Spotify debacle?
I didn't curate that one.
Oh. Did I? Apparently. I think that...
I know nothing about it.
I think that Neil Young wants his music pulled from Spotify over what he perceived to be Joe Rogan's vaccine misinformation.
Nice. Next one.
Yeah, I just don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Started my job as IT in the school department, so I need a lanyard for my ID. Question: what Thunderbolt hub do you use for your personal rig at home? I'm using the Razer one, but don't consider this an endorsement. I hate that the input is at the front. It really drives me crazy. For desktop use, it sucks. For a laptop, it would be great, where I'm constantly plugging in and unplugging, except, wait, I would just have the cable plugged in constantly, and I would plug it into my laptop. Why did they put the input at the front? I don't know. I'm sorry that wasn't more helpful. Can you guys make a breakaway lanyard? I work in an environment where it's required. Yeah, we probably should. Okay. Do you want to do a couple while I send a note, please?
I got to scroll down to there, but yes, I can.
So
I'm still going through the incoming.
So you would think I'm an idiot if I bought a Nevera.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, okay.
No, that's fair. I said it's fair. I said it's fair.
There's always the argument of how much can you recoup from making videos around it.
Yes.
I made the same argument with the TV.
Yeah, not that much. The TV I could have milked.
I made the same argument with the TV.
TV I could have milked.
If there was a way, and I don't know, but if there was a way to...
I wouldn't have been able to make up the entire
if you're going to
TV.
like start a car channel and you want like a hero thing to start the channel
to
with,
race every car against.
sure.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if there's some type of argument, I think it could be figured out. If you're just like, I want a really expensive car, and you're just going to buy a Nevera, like, yeah, I'm going to think that's stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, it's honestly just way better use of the money is buying backpacks and screwdrivers.
And you could just like find some way to go drive one for like a weekend or something.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I could.
And it's going to lose its novelty, and you're probably not going to want to daily drive it.
It's only 2 seats.
And like all this, yeah. So like, it's just not, it's so, I don't just, my thing is if you're going to spend, unless you're so into cars that you're like a collector,
Yeah.
buying a car like that, like you're not going to daily drive
I
that
bet it would
car.
appreciate. They're only doing 150
A lot of
them.
supercars do.
A lot of them
And
do.
so but that's the other thing. If that's your like reason, okay, sure. But that's not it.
No, it's not. I honestly, I was just like, wow, look cool. Yeah, I'm not. And honestly, I've even been talking about the Taycan for like 2 years. Like, you remember this, right?
Yeah, I know.
I managed to test drive it like at a dealership, other than the video. So I test drove one before we did the video, and I got as far as looking at all the different options, and I got overwhelmed and I left. Because it was just like, some of them were just offensive. Like, it was like hundreds of dollars for a little clock on the dash. And I was like, what?
A lot of car options are kind of
Like,
that.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, in theory, I'm like, yeah, I want to be like a cool guy and drive a cool car. But then I actually get there and I'm like, I'm sorry, how much for a little light that shines your logo onto the pavement? That's your logo, not mine.
Oh my goodness. Someone in Floatplane chat said Luke is such a utilitarian. Sometimes, yeah. I just, it's so much money.
People are trying to come up with rules for me. How about you spend 3 times the money you can pull in over a WAN show and buy whatever the best car is at that price? Do I get to count merch messages?
Oh man. Right when they said that, I was like, oh no. You guys have seen how many of those are coming through, right?
Like, they're right there, y'all.
Oh man.
I mean, we don't always have like a hot launch like today, right? So
Yeah,
I just have to time it. If I pick the right 3, like we launched the screwdriver.
You somehow convinced Nick to make it so that you launch the screwdriver and the backpack on the same day.
Like back to back, yeah. Give me one WAN show.
Yeah.
Because man, they're gonna.
We're going big.
I have to believe that they're gonna kill. Because if I don't believe it, I'm actually in serious trouble. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot afford that car. When I was talking to you about that was before we had placed the order for either of those things.
Yeah.
It would have been just like, and it would have been dumb. It would have been like, bye-bye business cash reserves. Like, it would have actually been completely stupid. So it's fair.
It's
fair
fun
what
to
you
think
said.
about stuff sometimes.
Sure it is. It's fun to dream.
Yeah. Like,
but that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. I'm planning to do my first build soon. I got myself a 3060. Do you have any great first-time advice? Watch a build tutorial and follow along. Don't be in a hurry. Have fun. There. Do you think banks with physical stores will survive?
That one, I wasn't entirely sure what they meant. I think they were saying like banks with physical, like storefronts, like physical locations.
Yeah, absolutely. So much banking still has to be done in person.
And I was going to say the same thing. A lot of conversation style stuff still needs to happen in a bank. I wouldn't be too surprised if they kind of got rid of the like bank teller type of position. And banks are more like, you come in to like negotiate mortgages and you
business
like,
customers will still demand it.
The tellers, yeah,
you still need it. There's a lot of things because like you're dealing with foreign currencies and stuff like that. It's just like we deal with so many different currencies just from out of region Amazon affiliates and stuff like that. Like it's just you have to.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. Hold on a second. There was a question. What size are you guys wearing? I'm wearing a medium and Luke is wearing an XL.
Yep.
Flannels are awesome, but I already have too many. Do you guys think there might be any issues with the upcoming Intel GPUs and AMD chips and chipsets? No, I sincerely doubt that.
I don't think so either.
Been watching since 2014, says Damien. Anyway, what makes the underwear so fancy? Modal fabric and such? Oh, you bought a pack. Well, you'll know soon enough. Let me just put it this way. Your balls, they'll thank you. Nicholas K. I love the channel, but I only use my laptop for coding and YouTube. Looking for a new ultra-wide monitor. Are there any features I should make sure are missing to make sure I'm not paying for something I won't use? Okay. So I actually like high refresh rate displays for everything.
Yeah.
I want my whole life to be 120 hertz, never mind gaming.
You can feel it on the desktop.
You can absolutely feel it on the desktop. Yeah. I would say that you shouldn't bother with a refresh rate above 120, but you should still care. I mean, really, anything that makes a monitor good for gaming makes it good for anything else. Like high contrast is great for gaming. It's great for text. High refresh rate is great for gaming. It's great for just feeling responsive and like in the zone when you're working. Like it's
something to consider for anyone that's going like, well, no, is some of the side effects of creating things that are great for gaming is not what he's talking about. He's just talking about the thing that's great for gaming.
Yes. Went today to get about $2,000 in quarters exchanged for cash. Sorry, there's just some weird stuff being talked about in Floatplane chat. Okay. Where did the LTX 2019 lanyard with the metal clip come from? I love mine and want a backup for when I inevitably stab it with an X-Acto knife. Also, I couldn't find merch messages on mobile. Is that a thing? Have we looked into that?
I'm pretty sure it is a thing, but he might be logged in, meaning it's doing the shop pay thing.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm sure Conrad will have some form of feedback for that.
Okay. Not 23. Please let me have a paycheck between screwdriver and backpack. Can't promise anything, but probably yes. I don't think they're going to land at the same time. I have no idea where that lanyard with the metal clip came from. I don't think we have any plans to bring it back. I'm sorry. Add to laptop and phone reviews, minimum screen brightness. Absolutely. That's a big thing for me too. It's one of the things that bothers me about the Aya Neo, that the minimum screen brightness is so much higher than I'm comfortable with at night. Yeah, that's absolutely something we want to talk about.
I'm not really sure what this means, Rajiv. It says, I think Linus mentioned that Labs is going to be testing data from around the office. Will that be posted and updated as new cables come in with new products? What? Okay.
Yeah. So basically just that the lab will have kind of this database of test data. Yes, it will. Okay. And yes, we will try to keep it updated. And that's something Luke's team will be working on.
Yeah.
Any phone recommendations? Not ready for a fold yet. Man, it's tough right now, isn't it? Honestly, the easiest thing is just be like, go buy an iPhone.
Yeah, which is...
Like OnePlus sucks now. The issues that Yvonne and my son have had with their OnePlus phones have been really frustrating. My son's phone has been broken on TELUS, and it's like a known issue caused by OnePlus for like 6 months. And the workaround is super hacky and stupid, and I had to do it, and it was like, this is ridiculous. They're just not the same company that they were before. Samsung is always fine. Pixels are just kind of hit or miss, it feels like. You get a good one, you'll be happy. You don't get a good one, then you're going to be kind of mad. Like you've had terrible luck with Pixels.
Horrible luck. I know people that have had better luck, but yeah, I've had really, really bad luck. My original Pixels were fantastic. My like actual OG Pixel was really good. Pixel 2 was really good, lasted for a long time, and I've had problems ever since. Not unheard of ones either. Like ones I've looked up online, and they are very common.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. Some recommendations for the S20 and S21 series, fair enough. Like, Sony phones still amazing. No one talks about them, says Wizardmon. Yeah, that's fair enough. There's one crucial flaw that makes it so I can't use Sony phones, though. Their launcher doesn't allow you to switch the multitask and the back button. I'm a Samsung back button position guy. Just add the option, Sony. This is one of those just arrogance things. It's like an Apple moves. Like, we have decided it shall be thusly. And no, you don't decide. I decide where the button goes. So I just can't. I can't daily drive it. I can't reach. And I use the back button far more often than I use the task switcher button. In desperate need of a new mouse pad, any news on when the stealth one will drop? No. I do not know. And I don't want to promise anything because shipping is a nightmare right now. Now that AT&T has 2 gig and 5 gig fiber available to the public, can you do a home networking video for 2 gig and 5 gig internet? So I'll tell you this, you're not going to get 2.5 gigabit per second or 5 gigabit per second connections to almost anything. Not in the real world. The point of a wide pipe connection like that is multiple users. It's not for you to put the wire your whole house and all your machines for 5 gigabit and expect that you're going to browse Facebook faster, because the time to negotiate that connection to download the content is already going to be greater than the time it would take to download that content on a fiber gigabit connection, let alone 2.5 gig. So I don't think you're going to see a meaningful difference in things like web browsing. And okay, say for example, you torrent. By the time you're going to saturate a gigabit connection, you have saturated your CPU because presumably you're using a VPN, right? You're not going to touch this 2.5 gig or 5 gig fiber connection with a single machine. So really what you want is you want a router that has a 2.5 or 5 gig uplink, which you could make for yourself with pfSense. I know ASUS has some 2.5 gig uplink stuff, and then everything else will run on gigabit, and you'll just get full gigabit from multiple clients at a time. That's the benefit. Ever thought of doing a semi-truck gaming setup? Yes, we have. We'd love to do something cool like that, but it's just a gigantic project, and we haven't. We just haven't made it go. Luke, are there any that you wanted to talk about, or are you curating right now?
Still curating.
Oh my goodness!
I'm getting there, but whoa.
Linus, you've stated before that when you start selling cables, you will make sure they're legit. Do you plan on using third-party validation? LTT Labs would be a conflict of interest. No, we don't plan to use third-party validation. We plan to validate them ourselves, which, yeah, fine. We're asking you guys to trust us that we can validate the cables, but...
And hopefully our documentation is good enough. That
we're also just going to do it and do good.
Look into it yourselves.
So, Brad, I'm an aspiring YouTuber and want to avoid becoming an external drive hoarder. I'd like to go the jellyfish killer route with LTO as physical backup. I'm Apple, direct attach is nice. Big Q is can storage... Oh, big question. Can storage servers be powered off and on regularly when needed? Studio is an off-grid mini barn, and I'm only home monthly. Yes, you can power them off as long as you power them off correctly. Yes, you can. That is a very, very edge case.
It is.
Sup, Linus and Luke. Any chance you can speedrun a video on the quantum magnetism used to read hard disks by next week so I don't have to look it up for my class?
Next week. Okay, I didn't actually read the
No.
by next week part. It could be an interesting
That's
tech
super
wiki
cool,
video eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not next week.
Daniel, what do you think about Google nerfing its legacy G Suite and forcing them to get a paid subscription to keep their email with their own domain? I think they backtracked on that. So that was the right thing to do if they did. That's where I'm at on that. We had to migrate from the free version ages ago because we exceeded the user count. But LMG used to be free G Suite back in the day.
Yep.
Back in the day, I think it was sub 10 users that they allowed.
Something like that.
Very generous, actually. Sierra's 13 says it's not really a conflict of interest. That's just QA. Yes, that is correct. What are your thoughts on mass adoption of Windows 11 in its current state? I only use it on one of my machines so far. I've been fine with it, but I don't use it that heavily. It's my handheld.
It was nowhere even close to the crazy storm that was Windows 10. There was no news articles this time around about. I remember specifically some lady had a forced upgrade. She lost all her data and her computer got bricked or something. That was we talked about.
I think that was just a Windows 10 update too. I don't even think that was going to Windows 10.
Maybe it was rough. The Windows 10 move over was rough. My computer hasn't even bugged me about it at all. Maybe because it knows it's not compatible, but who knows?
Apparently, they haven't backtracked as far as Latinos on Floatplane, and you lose your Play purchases because you can't transfer them unless you pay. Okay, well, I'm very sorry to hear that. They're letting you migrate to free accounts now. That's good. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, so they have backtracked on it. Platt says, can you explain when it's okay to plug a UPS into a power strip and vice versa, power strip into UPS? Why do UPS manufacturers get so warranty voidy about these configurations? So first of all, I think UPS manufacturers get warranty voidy about things whenever they can. Because that's
definitely.
If you have a
They
warranty,
saw an opportunity, they just went for it.
that protects the equipment attached to something, you're looking for every opportunity to invalidate that warranty. In theory, there should be nothing about a power strip with a surge protector on it that makes the power protection of the UPS not function correctly. But the manufacturer would make the argument that, well, we only validate it with all the equipment directly attached, so that's what we're covering, and that's fair enough. So what you should really do is you should just use a UPS that is rated for the capacity that you need and has the number of outlets you need, and you should plug directly into it according to the manufacturer's instructions, because if you want the warranty, then that's what you're going to have to do. Personally, I plug things into my UPS with a power strip, but I do it knowing that I'm plugging in extremely low draw devices like a phone charger that I just didn't have enough outlets for, and that I'm not overloading it. That could be another concern that the manufacturer might have, is that you might be overloading it. Why are you plugging in so many devices, right? So that's where I'm at with that. Josiah says, have a great weekend, guys. I'm so glad this is back in stock. Oh, WAN hoodie. What's your favorite current show? That's for either one of you.
I don't really watch shows. Current makes it a bit of a problem. Adventure Time was a big one for, I think, both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved Adventure Time.
Adventure Time was huge. Yeah.
I had never watched Bob's Burgers until like a few months ago, so I like binged 10 seasons of it. It's like pretty funny.
Cool.
Yeah, it's still current, so that's neat. I watch TV to not think, so don't expect me to come at you with like, oh yeah, like Black Mirror really changed the way I think about, the digital age, and it's
a break. Yeah. My girlfriend watches TV. I sit on the computer, so it's on like kind of in the background. Bob's Burgers has been on, and I thought it was cool. There was a recent one. What was it called? It was a Canadian show too. Let me see.
Letterkenny.
Figure it out. No, Letterkenny's great, but that's not the one I was talking about. Letterkenny's fantastic.
Okay, why don't you check that? I'll do a couple more. Luke, I'm about your size and I need a new chair. How do you like the chair you're sitting in? So, disclaimer, they are an ongoing sponsor of the show, but that doesn't benefit Luke directly in any way, so I'm going to let him talk about his chair here.
The show I was trying to think of was Kim's Convenience. I don't know. It's good. It's fine. I don't have very strong opinions about chairs. I'm actually not really a huge fan of any of them, if I had to be completely honest. I have found...
You treated yourself to like a super fancy one and then didn't even like it or something.
I returned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which might not be surprising if you know how I, modus operandi, but it was really expensive. It was one of the most expensive purchases I had literally ever made.
Sorry, were you saying you're a cheapskate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really expensive, and it showed up, and just like the whole process frustrated me. It was literally one of the most expensive things I'd ever bought, like I just said. They left it out on the front lawn while I was at work. I drove up and was like, whoa, there's a big box in the lawn. I wonder what that is. And then I was like, wait, my name's on it? Wait, this is the... Wow, okay. It was like... I even noted that, like, I lived in the basement behind the house, blah, 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 blah. I didn't even know it was arriving that day, like, etc. I take it to the thing. It, like... I don't know. It just, like, creaked a lot. It felt really cheap.
Yeah.
I was just very not impressed for how much it cost. And ever since then, I just haven't been super stoked. Jay has some steel case chair that he seems to be a fan of that I've been kind of interested in, because it's probably getting near time for me to get a new chair again. But yeah, I just haven't been impressed by... I don't know if impressed is the right term. Like, this is fine. I have no issues with this chair. I would have no problem saying, like, yeah, if you want a gamery style chair, this chair is totally solid. But I have never sat in a chair where I'm like, wow, I gotta get this now. I've never had that experience. Not yet.
Jeff V asks, I've saved up enough for a Steam Deck 512 gig. Should I go for that one or keep saving and hope for an affordable 3070? I'm on a 1080, but I want multi-monitor 1440p goodness. Man, that's
pretty
tough.
Crazy comparison.
My take is man, Steam Deck's going to be really cool. It's going to change the way you game. Whereas a 3070 will upgrade your game, your current game. So that's kind of where I'm at on this.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of these handheld PCs. I think they're super cool. I think they're a lot of fun. But if you're the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, small screen, don't like this, then maybe you should stick with the full-size setup, right? Like, how often are you away from a power plug? You got to ask yourself that. Are you really going to use it? Because if you're going to use it, man, the Steam Deck is so cool.
There's Toby J is asking how I got into development. I liked games. I thought computer games were really fascinating. When I was really little, how computers worked on the software side of things and the hardware side of things felt like magic to me. I kind of my one of the stories that I've told before is that my dad leaned in to tell my mom on their wedding day while they're up at the altar thing. He's like, I bought a computer this morning. So we've always had computers in our lives, but like we were both in the age group where like I grew up pre-internet effectively, and then the internet was connected to the house, and that felt like magic too. It was just a very interesting time because we were like kind of pre all of that stuff, and it was happening at the same time. And my brain just going like, how does this work, led me to getting interested in development. That was pretty much it.
That's a cool story, bro.
Thanks, man. I mean, he literally asked.
I mean, for real. For real. You're my bro, and that was a cool story. What? Derek asks, do you have any plans for a printer roundup? That's going to be a negatory, Derek.
I was going to say, hopefully not.
You know what? I'm not even making fun. Like, it's actually kind of really valid, useful like content. Like maybe that's something. Maybe that's something the labs could sort out or something for us. I don't know. Printer. Yeah, like what's like? Could we get it under the microscope? Check the printer quality. Like just literally print pages until it's empty. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's ways we could benchmark them, right?
Like a harassment scale or something would be nice. Like how much does this printer bother you?
How much does it yell at you?
Does it just work? More often than the other ones? Does it complain about ink more often than the other ones? Can you print if it doesn't have cyan? Can you print a purely black page if it doesn't have cyan? Like those, that would actually be pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. JP Japers says, what GSM is the shirt material? I don't even know what GSM is.
GSM fabric? Weights, fabric weights.
Oh,
GSM
man.
is a metric measurement, meaning grams per square meter.
I don't think...
You guys probably have that information somewhere.
I don't think Bridget's going to be on right now, but I'll tell you what. I will ask for it to be added to the product page.
I'm sure she knows.
I'm sure she does. Can we add GSM fabric weight?
How costly is it to run Floatplane per month from a business perspective? Costly.
It's costly, but the Floatplane subscribers that pay for Floatplane make up for it.
Yeah.
So it is cash flow positive for the entire umbrella organization overall.
Yeah.
So basically, you guys are awesome. You
thanks.
Yeah, you're awesome. I think that's really the whole story, bro. It was pretty cool. Says, hey, Linus, remember those few laptops way back when they had display inputs? Why don't we see any of that anymore? There is one. GPD did one. GPD laptop display input. It's super cool because you can basically, the Pocket 3 KVM module demo. So this is awesome. This is awesome. You're going to like this. You can use the keyboard and trackpad and monitor to control like a server or something by using this USB input module thing. Yeah, so you can control another device with it. It's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super useful if you're like a technician or something.
Yeah.
I grabbed it out of inventory to fix the arcade when my kids wanted to play with it because it's got a CRT, and so I couldn't.
And it's constantly
yeah,
broken.
and the BIOS wasn't displaying properly, and I needed to like change something. And I was like, oh, I don't want to haul a stupid. Gotta get a monitor and a keyboard. No, I'll go grab that thing because I had just done the short circuit on it. It's super uncommon because most people will never use it. That's why, basically, and it costs money to implement.
Stefan Merch messaged, please do a sarcastic 1.5 hour long printer review video. April Fools for a printer review.
That'd be kind of fun, yeah. I'd be into it.
That could be interesting.
That's
soon.
Is that something the Framework laptop would be able to do with an add-on port? Not easily. Embedded display port is like not quite the same thing as probably an HDMI output that you would have into whatever your device is. I think it would be non-trivial to deal with.
Gabriel said, my first internet exposure was in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you think early internet exposure changed your business and life? Back then, the only way to get content was by piracy, and then in brackets, LTT videos on a USB stick. Okay, this is probably like Cuba or
like
something.
SneakerNet.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah.
Oh, how do you think early internet exposure changed your business and your life? I mean, it completely changed my life. I spent so much time building relationships with people on MSN Messenger, like camp buddies and school friends and stuff like that. Like my first girlfriend, we talked almost exclusively online because she lived quite far away and it was long distance. Remember long distance phone?
Yeah.
So I racked up like a $multi-$100 phone bill once talking to her, and it was like, son, this will never happen again.
Oh no. Did you know that you were doing that?
No, I had no idea. I knew it was long distance because I had to dial the thing, but I didn't know it was like really expensive. I didn't realize how long I was talking. You hang up. No, you hang up. Like that kind of thing, right?
No, every time you say that, it costs me $1.
Hang up. So, other than to say that I wouldn't even recognize my life today without early internet exposure, I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
I'm accidentally in the wrong section.
Someone's
here.
asking if you have any recommendations for a NAS.
Man, I think we're working on something right now. Either Jake or someone on the team is working on a follow-up to Anthony's video, which is converting your old desktop into a NAS, which is also a valid approach. But we're going to try and do a brand new one. So stay tuned is what I'm going to say, because I don't want to just talk out of my butt.
Raphael is saying, on another note, I've been a Linux gamer for almost a decade. Your videos on the project were amazing. It would be great to revisit the topic in a few years to see how it has evolved. Is there going to be any content looking at SteamOS? Like
Absolutely,
as a part of the
for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Perverted Angel Mark says EDP is very trivial, saying that as somebody who has soldered a DP plug to a laptop monitor. Yes, fair enough, if you're talking about DisplayPort, but the reason that I said presumably HDMI is because that tends to be what we use on mobile devices. Like, what are you going to output your switch via DisplayPort? You'd need an active converter, which might need to be powered. So that was the reason I said it would be non-trivials. You're right. DisplayPort and embedded DisplayPort are easily intercompatible, but it was HDMI compatibility to this embedded DisplayPort display that has no ability to understand HDMI whatsoever that I was concerned about. Sorry, I should have clarified that better. Thanks, Linus and team. Interested in collaborating with an AV integrator to showcase more professional AV gear. That could be kind of interesting, but it's almost becomes like a Cribs episode at that point. I don't know what we could or would say about it.
Garland said, "How would I go about getting my channel brought over to Floatplane? There's a creator application form." He said, "We're very small, but would like to join up." We generally recommend for very small creators that you actually don't put effort towards an external platform like Floatplane, which is somewhat contradictory to things that we have said outside of that, which is where creators should diversify a lot. Creators should diversify a lot after they establish themselves, in my opinion.
After they reach a certain critical mass.
Yeah. And up until that point, you should be putting as much effort and as much focus as you possibly can, every possible minute you can put forward towards it, in growing that one thing so you can get there. And then you should focus on spreading out. So once you hit a decent solid size, apply and we'll get you on. But up until then, like, I would not recommend joining. You should focus on your YouTube or whatever else you're trying to grow.
77-inch OLED, 85-inch LCD, or 120-inch 4K projector for a living room with no light control. Well, I can already tell you the projector ain't happening if you have no light control.
Yeah.
No light control. But you didn't say how much natural light you have.
While you think about that, I'm going to do another one. Daniel said, thanks to IT, I started working in IT as a technician. I think he meant LTT. What would you recommend to expand my scope of knowledge? One thing that I've seen some people do is set up a home lab.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you can afford it, I think that would be a really good way to go.
If you have a lot of light in your living room, I still think, unless you're going like absolute latest gen OLED, that 85-inch LCD, man, Samsung's, what are they? The Quantum Dot Neo or whatever ones, Evo, can't remember. The latest gen ones, they're pretty darn impressive. The black levels were really, really good. There's also that technology from Hisense with the dual cell, I think they call it, where it's 2 LCD layers, one of which is for color and one of which is for basically light control. We haven't done our review yet because we haven't got a unit of one yet, but I saw it at a trade show before, like a couple years ago, and it was super exciting. So that's another LCD option as well. I don't know if it's available that big though. I'm leaning towards 85-inch LCD if it's going in a living room though. But man, 77-inch OLED, that's what I got in my living room, and I'm super happy with that. The G1. So good. Random question and not so random question. Have either of you solved a Rubik's Cube? No.
Yes.
Is it better to buy a pre-built right now? Possibly. But we also have shown in a recent video that it could be terrible. So you got to find the right one that's not a bad pre-built. If you have to start replacing parts, it doesn't work out.
It's not great.
Thanks for the free sound check. Didn't think Canadians got so loud, says Jay. Also, any chance for reviews of some touchscreen productivity monitors? Seems all the reviewers I'm following aren't even mentioning touchscreens. It's because on the desktop,
It's weird.
it's so much less
You
convenient.
just said productivity
than just,
monitor, but it's probably not very productive.
yeah, than just keeping your hands on your keyboard and mouse. So it's tough.
Yeah.
Linus, can you talk about how YouTube is forcing its users to turn on watch history? Are they?
I have no idea.
I did not know that.
I haven't heard of that.
If they are, I guess Boo earns. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a hot take on that. I've done enough hot takes today. That's all the hot takes we need in one WAN show. Will there be another office vlog once you occupy the new office space? We did do a tour of the new Creator Warehouse space on Floatplane. That was an exclusive. Nick did it. And then for the lab, yes, we will definitely be doing lots of updates. I'm
sure you'll see a lot of the lab
as we kit it out. Aiden, I love LTT. Are you ever going to make a video on a non-Mac music workstation? Yes, we are going to do music like DAW, digital audio workstation benchmarks at some point. We've been talking about it for a long time, but we will do it eventually, maybe when the lab's up and running. John, you've mentioned potentially cutting back on your video cadence in the past. Is this because you feel it's getting harder to find interesting topics to talk about? Yeah, it can be sometimes. But also it's like a personal thing. Like I'm just kind of exhausted, but I hope that bringing the engineers into the lab and having a lot of that sort of digging for stories done by just generating our own data is going to take a lot of the pressure off of it. I think that we can keep up the cadence. John says, what do you think of retailers charging scalper prices on GPUs? We've talked about this extensively in the past. I mean, I'd rather the manufacturer and the retailer take the money than a scalper. So if that's the price the market will bear, I guess it's like better than scalpers just buying them all.
Yep.
But personally, if I could build a perfect world, I would make it so that the MSRP is what the end user ultimately pays. So, but I can't build that perfect world because nobody will sell me GPUs to use the verified actual gamer to make sure that real verified actual gamers get them. So
we could. It's been available this whole time.
Yep.
Keep that in mind when you think your company that you want to support is all cool and stuff.
Linus, you should seriously take a look at ARM server CPUs. If you have a hookup or connection at Gigabyte, ask about the Ultramax 198/96 core bare bones and server systems. Company wants publicity, can't say more. Oh, okay. The problem for us is that right now we don't have anyone qualified to test them. So it's something we'd love to talk about and love to look at, and it's super cool, but we're just not there yet.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on elderly how-tos for everyday common simple tasks as well as protection? Super basic and over-explained to make it easier to understand, asks Seth.
I was reading a merch message. Sorry.
Tutorials aimed at the elderly for like basic tasks and like staying protected online. What do you think?
That could maybe be an interesting TechWiki thing. Because the goal of TechWiki has been education essentially this entire time.
I feel like
being a resource for things.
I feel like part of the problem is not that information isn't out there, but that those people do not seek it out or do not know how to filter the good information from the bad information. I almost just feel like we would be just kind of just throwing more noodles at the wall, like pot and all, kind of hoping that it'll fix the problem. I don't think we have the power to fix that problem though. Mm-hmm. Navid says, my friend's GPU died, but I managed to get a 3080 Ti for the Win 3 with a water block for under MSRP. I don't know what case would be good for building a water loop. The size can be anything large but reasonable. Whew. Oh boy. I will say this. Picking a case is going to be the easiest part of that journey. Head over, like if you're doing a custom loop, head over to the forum, post under new builds. I'm sure someone will be happy to help you out. That's what I'm going to ask you to do, because they can help you with not just the case, but also making sure you pick a nice, reliable pump. You pick a reservoir that's going to fit above your pump so that it's going to be nice and easy to bleed the air bubbles out of it, and stuff that can help make life easier for a novice builder. You could also check out some of our water cooling builds as well. That Fantex one that we use for everything. Crap, what is it?
Enthu?
Oh, the 600, whatever it is. Oh. Yeah. That one's pretty good. Christopher B, what do you consider the best 2022 content creation laptop for the money?
P600S?
I think that's the one. Man, it's a little early in 2022 to have the best pretty much anything. Alder Lake is absolutely killer on mobile, it looks like. So that's going to be pretty interesting this year. Best content creation laptop. You know what? I'm afraid I simply cannot answer that question until I have an entire lab behind it.
What's the latest?
That's going to be my go-to a lot.
It's a pretty good one. What's the latest on non-Facebook VR headsets? Super excited about LTT Labs. I don't think there is a lot, really. It's been fairly dead space.
Yeah, I mean...
Hopefully because people are just quietly working. But
I got the Pimax ones in for review, the 5K and the 8K, and the problem for me is that they seem to be designed for more like an Asian bone structure. So my generous honker here interferes with the the plastic casing.
Yeah.
It's extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I basically didn't use my VR setup for a month while I had it plugged in.
Oh,
and then last night I was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to unplug it. I tried to keep it there to make myself review it.
But you just weren't doing it, yeah.
But it's not a good sign, okay, when the product is so unusable that I would rather not do something I enjoy at all than use this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting there, actually.
JTW, do you view a difference in blocking an ad versus blocking the various advertisers and analytics trackers in your browser? So that's getting into way, way more sort of nuance than really I ever intended to dive into with this topic. The point was the price is set by the seller. Your options are pay the price and consume the content, don't pay the price and don't consume the content, or privateering.
Privateering.
And you make the choice.
Yeah.
Benjamin says, do you think Nvidia will continue to use fab capacity for 30 series and continue producing them while moving to a new node for 40 series to help with the card shortage? Absolutely. Nvidia is going to make as many cards as they can conceivably sell. With that said, I think they try to have pretty clean transitions between product generations, at least in terms of how they name them. They may just try to make... but they roll out the top tier first, while you can absolutely still buy last generation lower tier. Hard to say. Yeah, probably. I'd say they're going to keep doing their volume at the lower tier of the 30 series, even once they've brought out the higher tier 40 series. That'd be kind of their jam.
Oh, we'll do some good old fun rebranding.
And finally, is the 6600 XT worth the $150 premium over the 6600 in your opinion? That doesn't come down to opinion. That comes down to find the games you want to play, look at a review at the resolution you play at, and you decide. Do you need that extra bit of smoothness? Only you can answer that question, Jakar.
And only you can end the WAN show.
No, only you can end the WAN show.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
You have the thing.
No, you hang up.
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 No, you hang up. Did you ever do that?
Oh, yeah.
You had one of those?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Bye!
Only you can end the WAN show. We're still live, by the way, but the flannel was a bit of a success.
Kind of worked out.
To say
I
the
saw
least.
a lot of purchases for the flannel that were saying that they were buying it for their girlfriend or their wife or whatever else. I find that very interesting because it's just the little black on black badge.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about how stealthy the branding is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
we're
stealthy.
really trying to like get away from merch.
I
I kind of
love
want to
stuff
stop
like
using
this.
the word.
Love stuff like this. Have always loved stuff like this because if someone walks past you and they know, then they know.
They're like, hey.
Hey, see, I know that thing is there. I can probably read it if I want to.
Yep.
But if not, it just looks like a flannel with a little black badge.
Yep.
Really cool.
And we're dead